What is good, YouTube? Welcome to this new podcast. We've been postponing this one for a while. Sorry, guys, but it's here now. And the topic is what is masculinity? We have TJ here as usual to help us with this great stream. And Ralph, he's been here the second time. So, guys, let's get it started with Holy TJ.
All right, guys, let's get this started. So, we'll start off with everyone's definition of what masculinity is.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
So, what is everyone's definition of masculinity?
Okay. Ralph. Yeah, we'll go from Ralph.
You go first. Yeah, we'll go from Ralph and then it's on me.
Right. So, hello everyone. At the rate at which I'm appearing on this podcast, just make me a frequent guest at this point.
Sheesh. Love that.
Masculinity. It's a very. This word is thrown around a lot. From what I understand from it, with no Google.
Is my phone like disturbing? Sorry.
No,
my phone?
No.
Okay.
No, you're good.
All right.
From my own definition, it's just the act of being a man. You know, the act of taking responsibility for your actions and also all the other things with becoming manly. Basically, someone defined it. The way I liked, there was a way that someone defined that I liked. It's the absence of femininity, of feminine emotions. Yeah, just basic rundown that way.
Okay. All right. In my own case, what is masculinity? That is, I would like to say, from my perception of it, from what I've, I'm a man, right? From what I've gathered, I hope I'm a man. I hope.
Yeah, boy.
So, you could also be a woman, but
I could, like these days, man. I don't know if you watched the documentary. What is a woman? I watched it yesterday, and
bro,
it was lit.
Watched it.
It was lit, man.
I watched it last a few months ago.
How was it? It was a beautiful. TJ, you should see that documentary, man. Anyway,
the fact that is what is a woman?
Bro,
it's kind of weird.
Bro, let's just leave that off this podcast, man. Apparently,
We'll
some controversial stuff. Like, I don't want that to, Anyway, so masculinity, if you ask me, is a state of. Is a state
political.
Political higi yaga. Oh god. Masculinity is a state of being responsible for your actions. Right? It's a state of being responsible for your actions. It's a state of owning up to your, how would I put it? To your own nature. It's a state of actually accepting. First off, if you ask me, there are so many ways, right? There's so many ways. But for me, accepting what you can't, like, people find it difficult to accept nature, accept what they are, right? Masculinity is accepting what you cannot change, fixing what you can change, and also being able to show love and empathy while doing that to others. That's what I think it is, in my opinion. So I think it's a fine balance between being able to understand the feminine side and being a man, and being aware that you're a man and you have responsibilities too, just like every other human being. You get me? So that's what I think. I don't think you can exclude femininity from. I don't think you can exclude understanding the feminine side while being a man. You have to understand both the male perspective and the female perspective to be an effective man. That's what I'm saying. To be masculine, you have to understand both essence before you can say, oh, you're actually masculine. That's how I see it. Because some people say, when people try to let's say you act a certain way, and they'll say, oh, you're acting like a woman. Yeah, it can be. You can look at it from two different angles. He might actually be expressing himself as a man because he's true to his nature and he understands that, oh, this is if I want to speak about, if I want to watch anime and you think I'm a woman, all right, but I love anime. That makes that's he accepts his nature.
Somebody justifying yourself.
And yes, I have to stand up
Yeah,
for my anime boys, man.
yeah.
Holy. But yeah, that's me, man. TJ.
I. So I'll just, yeah, masculinity, as we've said, you guys have literally said everything. The state of being a man, um, the social expectations of being a man, because it's rooted in our society, right? So it's the expectations socially of being a man,
Yeah.
and I'll just leave it there. So I just want to go because I did some more research, as I said earlier, the
I
root
wanted
word
to
of the
ask
word
what
masculinity.
does it mean to be a man? I wanted to ask you and
That's what
Ralph.
I'm going into now. I'm going
Yeah.
into that. So I just wanted us to lay out broad definitions and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're going to go deeper now. So the root word
Mr.
of the word
Rationality.
masculinity, yeah, exactly. So the root word of the word masculinity comes from the Latin masculinus. As I said, I wasn't
Yeah,
joking.
Ralph, sorry, there's some audio. I don't know what is it from TJ or is it? I'm hearing some is that you? Or is that okay? Is
I
that
think
the
it's
Wait,
from
let
that's
me
Ralph.
Jen,
see.
right? That's Jen, right?
Jen.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll mute when I'm
No,
not
I
talking.
don't. I don't mean it anyway.
It's
Like
all
I'm
good.
just
It's all
saying.
good.
I'm just
So
saying
the
some.
Latin word masculinus, right?
Yeah.
And so again, according to Wikipedia, is the social expectations of being a man having the qualities of the male sex, right? And now we're going to go into a lot of things here. So before we go into the qualities of the male sex, we have to talk about the difference in sex and gender here. I feel like this is a very good time to
Yeah.
bring that up.
I literally watched that. That was a good topic
Yeah, because here,
what
right,
is
we
a
know
woman.
sex is biological and gender is social. So if we look at like sex, we know there's male and female,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like there's man and woman in terms of sex, but in gender there's male and female. And so here I'm just reading going to read something here. It says the term gender refers to the social expectations that are associated with being male or female. But sex is like what we are, right? Gender is the social construction. So in terms of masculinity now, masculinity is basically the social construction of what we are as human beings, right? It's the social construction of, like, say a woman can be masculine. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In that
100%.
definition, because the social constraints of what a man is and what a woman is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a huge one of the things they said as well, one of the things that is highlighted in the definition of masculinity is the qualities of the male sex, which I underline, and we'll have to go deeper into this now. So, um, the qualities of the male sex physically, mentally. What do you guys think the qualities of the male sex are? Like, we're not talking about the male gender, if you get what I mean. Like, we're not talking about the social constraints of, talking about the qualities of the male sex, like a man born, growing as a man. What are his qualities physically, mentally, emotionally? What are the qualities like of a
Okay.
male sex?
Quality of male sex. Alright, Ralph. We'll start with you. Go to mute.
Okay, so I like the fact that you said that gender is a social construct because I mean let's just dead that argument there.
Mm.
But then, if we are being honest, the qualities of masculinity is literally it's biological. You feel me? So you can literally look at. You should be able to look at a man and say, okay, this is a man. You know?
Should.
He should.
Keyword.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
So
these days they are
um,
disguised.
exactly. So we're gonna look at the biological features first. Facial features, bone structure, muscle mass, ability to grow. Certain types of muscle in certain areas. Strength more than I would say
Counterparts, yeah.
more, exactly more than the counterparts.
Hey, Mad Gaming, thanks.
I
Man.
know, and also in the way that we think and reason. So primarily with if we're trying to go back to if you believe in the whole evolutionist movement where the ones that go out and fend for our families, go out into the wild, and things of that nature. Apologies for the noise upstairs. My brother is a programmer. I don't know what he usually says sometimes, but Um, yeah, just basically that. There's some physical attributes that I mentioned, and also some mental attributes. Like, there are certain things that we are hardwired to do when it comes to certain situations that doesn't allow for us to primarily or we should be doing this, like not showing certain emotions, at least outside, and keeping a cool composure at all times, and keeping focused, simple, straight to the point, in basically most or if not all of our activities, especially when it comes to association outside, either with other male, um, other other male friends or guys, or even if it comes to the opposite sex.
Okay, so
Yeah, nice, cool, cool.
good stuff, Frank.
Yeah, that covered everything basically. Yeah.
Well, so qualities of a male sex. If you ask me, we obviously know we have schlongs. You guys already know what schlongs are. In between our legs, you have to have that to be a man. Of
I was
course.
saving that for you. I knew you would say
Yeah,
that.
so you have to have, that's the very obvious one, and that's the first one. Of course, we won't be going around to check if can I see if you have. I don't know, these days we might need it.
Cool.
We might need that birth certificate to know if we were giving birth to as a man or a woman initially, because
Or you might
people.
get mitted there.
So but that's the most
Right.
obvious one. Secondly, of course, you can usually you'll be able to tell that, oh, if I look at this person, structure wise, physique wise, you'll be able to tell,
Welcome,
okay, this
Kachi.
is this is a man, right? You'll be able to tell from his physique, from at certain ages, even the changes in voice, even the puberty, um, you know, basically what Ralph was saying. Basically what Ralph was saying. You should be
Hmm?
able to tell this off the bat, but these days people take all sorts of pills to change their appearances and all that. So that's in the West, yeah. It's not something common. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
so it's very clear what a man is. It's very clear
Yeah,
what a man
same. I'll say the exact same thing you guys said. Like physically wise, we already know that men have broader shoulders. Men tend to be stronger. Um, they have more. Our hormones are different as well. Certain hormones,
is.
facial
XY
features,
chromosome and stuff like that.
exactly. Um, yeah, like muscle mass, everything Ralph said, and then mentally as well. The way we think, um, we tend to think more logically. In certain in
I like
certain
this topic.
fields. Yeah. Because of the way because of our hormones, like because of the hormones we don't have that the females might have. So we tend to be more logical in certain situations. Um, and then yeah, virile. I don't know if you guys know the word virile, right?
What's that? What's that?
Ralph, you're smiling. I know you know what that means.
I see where you're going with this. Continue.
Okay, so
Can you
I just
spell
want
that?
to
Let me just write it down.
VIRILE.
VIRILE. Okay, check that out. I don't know what that is.
No, I'm just saying that because that's a fact as well. Like having strength. The definition of the word is having strength, energy, and a strong sex drive.
Okay.
Which again, men are tend to be virile. Like in general, again, there are some men that aren't as virile as other men or whatever. But virility is, and virility in a woman is different here. The definition here. Anyways, I'll leave that. But just
Yeah.
in terms of manhood, or manly, or virile, or powerful, or strong, that kind of thing. So those are the qualities of the male sex that I was. The reason I said we should underline this before we move on is because we've we've come to the conclusion that masculinity, definition of the word masculinity is the social expectations of being a man, like the act of being a man, right?
Yeah.
As Ralph said, the absence of feminine emotions. Basically, like that means like just being a man, like that's what masculinity is. And now, what does being a man mean? Well, there are qualities of a man, which we've said, physical qualities, mental qualities. And before we move on, do you guys have any other thing to add on this? Because we're going to move on to
Yeah.
now the types of masculinity,
Okay.
and
Are
then we're
you
going to
are you
dissect
are you
some.
are you talking about add to this particular topic as in
Yeah,
qualities
add to
of?
everything we talked about, like the definition of masculinity, the qualities of the male sex, the sex is biological, gender is social, anything just to add to anything we've said,
I was
because we're
going
going
to
to move on
say
now.
from society's point of view, like what is a man? Like, there's one thing to be a man, and there's one thing to be accepted as a man in society too. As
Okay.
because society, they tell you, okay, um now in societies where you can, be a woman when you're actually a man, quote unquote. I don't know how that happens, but yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think we're going to. So
yeah, I
okay,
think
we're
that's a
just going.
different. I don't think that's where you're heading.
That
I think.
opens the door into the types of masculinity, which we're going to talk
Okay.
about now.
Okay.
That opens the door
So
into the types, because that's like the next thing.
Yeah, no.
because
Before
okay.
you go there,
Yeah.
I just wanted to get this out like quickly. Just two things. One, I like the fact that you said, TJ, when you were talking about masculinity, you said it's about being a man, and like we all know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like be a man. When they say be a man, there's literally
Some
everybody
people
should know.
don't
It's
too. Some
basically
people
Yeah,
don't.
that's the thing. It's recent.
It's actually very is a minority. Is a minority. But carry that's why we're here. That's why we're here today.
And the second
So
second thing is what someone was saying that we'll have to come and start looking at slums, bro. Even nowadays, if
they
you
cut
see
it off,
women,
and
they are cutting it off, or
yeah.
even women having these slums, it's crazy. So
yeah.
let's get into
I'm
that.
just going to read this thing that this kind of summarizes everything we said. So the term masculinity refers to the roles, behaviors, and attributes that are considered appropriate for boys and men in a given society. All right.
Yeah.
Masculinity is constructed and defined socially, historically, and politically, rather than being biologically driven. So these guys are saying it's like social constraints, irrespective of like the biological, like even a woman can have masculinity. Basically, that's what I'm getting from this. Um, we can think of masculinity as a shorthand for talking about the social expectations and practices of manhood, as the law, the economy, religion, education, and the media. Women as well as men are involved in reinforcing the social expectations of masculinity. For example, when a mother tells her son to act like a man and not to cry. So that's just a general overview of what we've said. Like, now we're going to go into the types of masculinity, right? These online. These are all. This is all online. The four types of masculinity we have: hegemonic, subordinate, complicit, and marginalized masculinity, according to this website here. So let's
Okay.
dissect that.
Okay.
Please do. I'm very interested.
Let's
What's going
dissect
on
that
here?
here. Hold on, let me get the. I have a different one open. And then you guys all like dissect
I
it.
have some questions here. Don't worry. I'm writing. I have my pen and
Wait, where's
paper.
the
Let me build quickly. Fortnite.
build? Sorry guys, I just
All
lost
these
this.
guys that be spending their time doing Fortnite. Bro, I know you made an empire on Fortnite, bro. You don't always have to do that.
Fortnite. Now you have to crank 90s. Oh,
You have to build though.
You have to crank 90. Oh my god.
You won't understand. Okay, so the four types of masculinity, right? And chat, feel free to comment, feel free to like add in, we need you guys also like. So hegemonic masculinity, we'll start with that, right? This refers to the existence of multiple definitions of masculinity and at the same time to hierarchies of power, authority, and recognition among men and between men and women. At any given time, one form of masculinity rather than others is likely to be culturally exalted. Hegemonic masculinity is the configuration of gender practice that embodies the currently accepted answer to the problem of the legitimacy of patriarchy. All right. So, do you guys is that too intricate or what?
You said a lot of stuff that went over my head there. Can't lie. I would like you to say
Not
that
going to
again.
lie, it was almost like you were speaking in feminist.
I don't know
Okay,
what
so-
that means. So.
Okay,
But
let me just
anyway.
read the first line. Refers to the existence of
Frank is
multiple
looking for
definitions
trouble
of
here.
masculinity.
I
That's
mean,
what hegemonic
wow.
masculinity is.
Is what? Is what?
Like,
Sorry.
It refers to the existence of multiple definitions of masculinity,
Okay.
and at the same time to the hierarchies of power, authority, and recognition among men and between men and women. That's what it is. So basically, it's like the word hegemonic now, like different. Like,
I don't know
Google the
the
word.
I do not know
Let me
the
Google the word hegemonic, because these are some intricate stuff here.
Okay. And how many types are there? 3, 2? Or you're still
So
many types
hegemony,
of
right,
masculinities.
is the process by which dominant culture maintains its dominant position. So, for example, the use of institutions to formalize power and stuff like that. So it's like, do you know what hegemony is? Yeah.
Yeah, dominant cultures maintain
His dominant position. Like there's a
dominant
hierarchy basically, and that is continu like is continued. So
Mm.
that's what hegemonic masculinity is like. The powers and authorities and recognition among men. That's what they're saying here. So what do you
Okay.
guys think about that? That kind of masculinity. That's one type of masculinity. Like
Yeah.
Um.
So
Okay. Yeah. Ralph, go.
okay. So from what I can see here, it's more of like traditional, either traditional gender roles or just stating that there is a hierarchy. It's more like a tree structure or no hierarchical structure where there's a top of every of the chain is the man, then under is the other pawns, woman, children.
The pawns.
Um, okay, I did not say that.
Oh.
is it
But
I
pawns?
thought you said pawns. I thought you said pawns. Okay.
Mm.
Maybe.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry,
But
my bad.
then from what I can see here, it says more or less it's like a it's like it's
You
been
guys
weird.
can Google it
It's,
as well and read the exact thing I'm reading. So if you want to, but let's type four types of
yeah. So
masculinity. Right there.
no. I saw here that the characteristics here associated with it include say strength, competitiveness, assertiveness, confidence, and independence.
With
This
hegemonic masculinity.
Yeah, apparently
Okay.
so. There was I can send you the link. It's
All right. Send the link. Yeah.
sciencedirect.com, something along that line.
Mhm.
But again, it kind of just buttresses what I already know about masculinity, where men's position in society, in most um, in most cases, I'm guessing in the area of things that involve physical activities or just leadership, some certain aspects of leadership where typically you find men doing certain roles. That's just what I'm getting from it.
Sorry, before you talk, there's just another part here I didn't read that kind of like explains it more. So it says hegemonic masculinity. This will actually help you understand more. Like hegemonic masculinity explains how and why men hold dominant social roles over women and other gender identities. It is one of the things that shapes the socializations and aspirations of young men. I think today's hegemonic masculinity in the world, besides ruthless competition, anger, violence, and aggression, includes the inability to express such emotions as the desire to admit weakness or dependence on another. Be that as it may, masculinity is also revealed in the devaluation of women and the hatred of all feminine attributes in men, and most importantly, in homophobia. So what I'm getting from this is like is just a masculinity that includes everything, if that makes sense. It's like anything can be masculinity because in the first line here they're saying it refers to the existence of multiple definitions of masculinity. So that's what hegemonic masculinity is. Like there's no one masculinity.
No
Like
one masculinity.
there are different traits and all of them make that masculinity, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting
So
from
it's
it.
are they saying it's a constitute of different traits, or
Yeah,
are
that's
they
the first line.
saying
That's literally the first
yeah?
line.
So because yes, now being a
The
masculine
existence of
person,
multiple definitions.
no, that's what I'm asking. Are you saying is an existence of multiple definitions, or is a combination for you to be a man is a combination of certain different traits together to form one? That's what I'm asking you, because you said two things there. You said it has more. You're saying this hegemonic stuff has different definitions, right? And you also said it's a constituent of so many different types of traits. So I'm asking which one, or is it both?
It's both, literally both. Like it's both of them.
Oh,
That's what it's saying here. It's
then
both of them.
I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. Like,
But
how would
so
then what is the definition then? So they are not defining
what's the
anything.
definition like
There's no
I
definition.
have.
No,
I
not
literally
you,
said,
not you, not you.
oh,
I'm talking
yeah, there's
about
no
the
definition like that. What they're saying is
hegemonic.
it refers to the existence of multiple definitions of masculinity and at the same time hierarchies of power, authority, and recognition among men and between men and women. So basically there's
Then they were also
anything
saying
like
an inability to express emotions. Was that in this one?
yeah, that was also in this one as
So
well.
they
Like for today.
for the hegemonic stuff,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can't express emotions because that makes them like not masculine from
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree with that. Like, that's not really that's not a definition. If you're saying define something, you don't
I mean, it's
just
a type. Like, don't get me wrong. They're just saying it's a type of masculinity because these are the types. like the types of masculinity you see in society, because there are different levels of masculinity and stuff. So
Okay, let's just carry on with all the. Just name
Sorry,
all of them. Give all of them. I think you give all of them. Go on.
just a bit, just a little question so that we don't like go off. These types of masculinity, are we talking about the different ways to define masculinity, or
yes,
just
basically.
okay, different ways to define more masculinity?
Basically,
Okay,
yeah, and like
that
dissecting
makes
masculinity, because there's no like, you have to dissect it like and
Yeah,
see
let's see
everything.
all
I think that's what they're
everything.
trying to do here.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so the
that's
second type,
just
right?
list everything. Let's go through everything then.
Yeah, so the second type here is subordinate masculinity, right?
Okay.
Um, okay, so since there are dominant and subordinate male cultures between different groups of men, appropriately, it is principle to define subordinate masculinity, whose frequent victims are homosexual men. Sorry for laughing. It's just kind of funny. Subordinate masculinity refers to men who do not fit into the construction of hegemonic
Homo.
masculinity, right? And are therefore treated as lower on the gender hierarchy. Yeah, so that's what subordinate is. They basically don't fit into hegemonic, and they're referred to as gay. So then we have complicit masculinity.
Hey.
And also, there is complicit masculinity, which refers to a man who admires or does not challenge hegemonic masculinity, even if he doesn't fit within the category. Right? And then the last one is
Wait, the second. Wait, you just mentioned another one. Sorry, I didn't get that.
yeah, the third one, complicit. So I've said hegemonic, the first one. Subordinate is the homo guys. Complicit is a man who admires or does not challenge hegemonic masculinity, even if he doesn't fit in with the category.
Doesn't
Right? So
admire or challenge it.
he admires or does not challenge hegemonic
Okay.
masculinity, even if he doesn't fit in. He just like, yeah. And then marginalized masculinity explores how men in precarious positions in different countries and social contexts understand and experience their masculinities, focusing on men who are viewed as being marginal in a range of fields in society, including the family, work, the media, and school.
One more time on that one. What do you say the name is? Sorry.
So marginalized, basically from the word marginalized, is just exploring men in precarious positions in different countries and social contexts, understand and experience their masculinity. Like the men, I'm guessing the men that are marginalized, like focusing on men viewed as being marginal in a range of fields in society, including family, work, media, and school. Like I'm guessing men that aren't as privileged as other men, like how they view their own masculinity, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what
Okay.
marginalized is. So those are the types of masculinity here, according to
Okay, and I
this
think the predominant
website.
one that everybody has a problem with, the one that people say is toxic, right, is probably the hegemonic one. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
toxic masculinity is a
yeah.
whole different thing. We're going to go into that,
I know,
but
but when
yeah,
people talk about toxic masculinity, right, they are
yeah.
probably going to talk about the hegemonic one that is kind of dominant against all the other ones. Yeah.
Hmm.
So okay.
Yeah, if I may, I think from something that I saw online with marginalized masculinity. Um, okay, I will keep looking. I'll keep looking on that particular one, but it kind of more or less seems like the it's like a brother to subordinate masculinity. You
Is
know
it
the word
border?
margin, like a
Is a
brother,
brother. Yeah.
like a
Okay.
brother to subordinate. You know what marginalized means? Okay, it's like a
Minority or
small
something.
subset of
Yeah, yeah.
exactly minorities.
Minority.
So yeah, what I'm going to guess, this is some guesswork, is that kind of masculinity is the kind of ones that society now, um, with the whole basis of that this gender topic conversation is trying to impose as the
As
real
the
type of
real. Okay.
masculinity. Exactly. So I don't know. It's just from what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get into it.
Fair. All right.
I was just gonna hold on. Do you
Yes.
have
No.
something? I was
Speak.
gonna
Speak.
say like hegemonic masculinity for me, from what I'm getting, is just what society is today. That's what masculinity is defined in society today. Because nowadays it's like a man, like there's again we're going to get into like red pill, alpha male, all this. We're going to get into it, but it's kind of like
Interesting
so
topics.
diverse now that there's so much. There's blue pill. That's and I think hegemonic masculinity is like so predominant in our world because there are so many definitions of what a man is. It's not There's no more like the traditional roles are less seen, especially in the Western world. Um, it's just like because the world has changed as well. The world has evolved here, so That's why I see hegemonic masculinity as, and then subordinate as and marginalized, as Ralph said, it's still important because you can't just have one masculinity. There has to be room for everyone, you know. So without the other ones, like without the homo men, there won't be hegemonic men. Like let's keep it real, like because I
Um,
know it sounds weird, but then
not really.
everyone can be the same. Every man can be the same. So every man has their
No,
own
of
type
course
of
we have to
masculinity.
consider everybody, like like we're all
Exactly.
humans at the end of the day. But
Yeah. And then if you
when you
say,
were
okay,
speaking
which one is
about,
the predominant
I don't think
masculinity?
homosexual men make the regular men, more regular men. I don't know
No, no,
whether
no.
you
I,
get what I'm
I
saying.
I didn't mean that. What I meant is like they are different. I'm not saying they make them more regular. I'm
Yeah,
just saying
because
like
you
they're
were
different. Like,
saying there won't be regular men if
okay,
you said something like
what I
that.
mean is
Yeah.
like, there's one for all. As you said, one size fits like one. Everyone is different. Everyone has
Yeah,
their
people are
own.
the yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everyone fits in their own slot.
But there's
So
a general, like if you go from countries to countries and you pick out
exactly.
their best performing males, they have certain
Yeah,
qualities,
there
certain
are certain
traits
physical,
that
traits
that
and
are
think
assigned
this
to them.
Yeah,
mental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and also to add to that, not to get anything wrong. I mean, there are men who exhibit
slap juice.
right. There are men who exhibit feminine qualities. We can't get around the fact that there was an example that someone on the internet, I heard, said that if you have a boy that says, "Oh, I don't want to play with cars. I want to
I'm
play
hearing
with
so
dolls."
sorry. Someone is screeching something. TJ, is that you?
No, no. I think it's from Rob, but I can hear you, bro.
Okay, sorry. I'm just hearing.
Mm.
Yeah. There are a lot of factors that go into trying to do it. Anyway, um, if you have a boy that says that, "Oh, I don't want to play with cars. I want to play with dolls," you don't have a girl instantly. You have a guy that likes to play with dolls. So, in that sense, we also have to admit, yeah, there are um, men out there who maybe either from constructs of maybe their life story or their history might not be, either they didn't have a father figure at home or they don't know what a man kind of should be. That doesn't take away the fact that they are men, and it's a bit interesting that society is reconstructing what we know as a man and bringing up these theories. We like to call them theories that we just brought up to say, okay, this is now what a man should be like. It's very disingenuous.
Traits of a woman here I'm seeing nurturance, sensitivity, sweetness, supportiveness, gentleness, warmth, positivity. Yeah, just that's what you said. But yeah. Like we're all on point here. So
Okay, I wanted to
you
ask.
guys are yeah, who's on what
When
do you
you
have to
say
add, like
feminine qualities, what are feminine qualities?
exactly that's what I was just reading out here. So
Yeah.
traits such as nurturance, sensitivity, sweetness, supportiveness, gentleness, warmth, passivity, cooperativeness, expressiveness, modesty, humility, empathy, affection, tenderness, and being emotional, kind, helpful, devoted, understanding are stereotypically feminine. Feminine. Keyword stereotypically. Doesn't mean that men
Stereotypically.
can't have these qualities, but
Okay.
when you think of someone being feminine, whether it be man or woman, that technically, you know, these terms are
That's what they're
related to
implying.
them. Yeah.
Wow. That's a bit
So
disturbing.
that's
That
stereotypically again. That's
you
called
can't be kind and be a man. That's kind of
no. They didn't say.
no. You
Hold on, they
said
never said
kindness. You
that.
said kindness. It was
Yeah,
part
but
of
those
it.
are feminine
No,
qualities.
no.
I've never.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just going based
Yeah,
off
yeah.
what you read. Like so you're less of a man for being kind. That's what you just read to us.
Stereotypically, yeah.
Yeah. That's Anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
We'll
here.
get into that.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm here. That's why I'm here.
The
Anyway.
qualities.
Mm.
So yeah, I think these types of masculinity, like it makes sense. It's kind of logical if you look at society and you see everything. Like there are different types of masculinity, but being a man, again, if you go back to the sex and gender thing,
Sorry. What's
being a
logical?
man.
What does logical mean?
What does logical mean? Logical basically
You
is a
could you could
is a
Google it if you want.
deductive. No, I would just this is
Okay.
my definition, but it's like a deductive way of solving things, like trying to
Active.
look at things, trying to find a solution to things using
Using the real life
deduction.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Using what is
yeah,
present,
Basically,
what you can
clear,
see.
clear and sound reasoning.
yeah,
Clear and sound
Deducing
reasoning. Clear and
exactly.
from
sound
your from
reasoning.
environment to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what is real, what is in the okay. Okay, because people
Um,
always back up stuff with, oh, it is logically like this. So I just wanted to ask, like, okay, where is this logic and what are they basing it off? So yeah. Anyway, carry on, carry on. Oh,
logic,
this
I
is an
like that.
interesting one. This is an interesting one for sure.
Um, so just stemming off of that now, we're going to go into the term toxic masculinity, right? Before I get into, I want to hear you guys, what do you guys think toxic masculinity is? You know, negatives, positives.
Okay.
What does it mean? Where did it come from? Is it useful? Is it harmful? What do you guys think about toxic
Okay.
masculinity?
I can go first, Ralph. So toxic masculinity, if you ask me, um, we all know the people that coined this word. They mean anything that's toxic is harmful, right? They mean is a certain type of masculinity that's harmful to somebody,
Okay.
to someone. I don't know who, but it's harmful. Once something is toxic, it's harmful, right? And I've seen in several, videos, not documentaries. I don't read documentaries. Videos, podcasts, where people like the red pill guys say, "Oh, toxic masculinity is a construct to make men less masculine," right? They have put that there to kind of scare men from being men, so that they don't be perceived as being toxic, right? And most of the times, I've seen cases where traits, particular traits, where I look at this trait, I examine this trait, and I'm like, what is toxic about this behavior? You get. So from all that, if you ask me, like the word implies here, and you've defined here, I'll take this as a gender thing, right? It is a definition of a certain type of masculinity that the society has made up to classify masculinity they don't like, right? It is a certain type of, yeah, they associate that to men who express qualities that most of the times are dominant. They always seek this logical explanation for everything, regardless of emotions, right? They always want to take a logical view, and they are very stern on those views, even
All right.
if, even Ralph is scaring me though. Even
Toxicity. You have to know.
that's a bit toxic of you, Ralph.
Nah,
You
behave
want to
yourself.
scare
I
me?
just,
Uh,
I'm just victim.
okay, so
Go on.
so yeah, like I was saying, so they take this particular type of men. They have stern beliefs, and they are very um they take this, what do you call it, pinpoint when it comes to their views. They are just stern on their views. They rarely change. They rarely consider, I won't say they don't consider, but most of the times you can't change the way they look at things, right? Those are the kind of guys that,
Unchangeable God.
yeah,
Unchangeable.
kind of guys that are toxic, that they classify as toxic men. So
Mhm.
yeah, if you ask me, it is like it is one of the things that society has made as usual to classify men that they don't like, or
So
traits
where
in
did
men
it
they
come
don't like.
from? Where did it? So that's like
I don't
you
know who
define the
coined the
word.
word. We'll have to check that one out. I don't know where
All
it
right.
came from, but I know it has a lot to do with the red pill, society. It's a word that they like to attach to all these red pill guys and stuff like that. So yeah, I have a lot to say about it, but I'll let the topic go around, and
Ralph.
yeah.
Okay, so just what I used. Sorry about that whole video thing. This thing doesn't. I think it's not.
No.
Anyway, um, I actually don't think
Ralph,
personally.
sorry, are you moving something? Are you moving something around there?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay,
Is it
because I think
very?
it's like when
Yeah.
you plug your mic in and you're like turning it
Mhm.
around the audio knob. That is kind of the sound we're hearing. Like you're trying to. I'm just trying to let you know the kind of sound that. But
I see. I see.
yeah,
I see.
It's
eh,
gone now. Though keep talking.
it's
I think it's
gone now.
gone.
It's gone
Yeah,
now.
I think it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it still going?
it's not there.
No, no, it's not there.
Fantastic. Okay, so I actually don't think the term toxic masculinity actually exists. Like, I'm yet to see a proper definition of what toxic masculinity is. Personally, I think it is just something that was coined because of, certain societal changes might have happened where people mostly felt that the kind of masculinity that was being exhibited before that has moved the world, changed the world for years, has led the world through different periods of time. They felt that that kind of masculinity was, but the actual real kind of masculinity was sort of harmful. So they put the term toxic on it. Now, I don't think, like I said, that there is a term called toxic masculinity. I think what there is men who don't want to be men. When we talk about people who are toxically masculine, I guess the only way I see that working in any sense is if the man doesn't do his responsibilities. Say, okay, if he's married or is in a relationship, he beats his wife or doesn't treat his kids well, or he runs away from home. That's more an irresponsible man rather than a toxic man. If we're then slapping the word toxic on all attributes of masculinity, then that basically discredits everything that has happened since the beginning of time, when men would literally die to protect their families, die to protect their country, protect, provide, and things of that nature. And it's just basically turning it around to say that, all of that doesn't exist. Let's turn a blind eye on history. Let's focus on something else that makes men look weak. And then if you have weak, then I believe you have weak societies. Indirectly, what they are doing is basically turning those societies weak. So, like a roundabout way to say that I actually don't think that exists.
Okay. Yeah, you guys literally like said everything. Like toxic is very obvious. Toxic masculinity. The word toxic means negative or harmful. So I'll just go straight to the Wikipedia definition here and some other more research. So here, the term toxic masculinity was obscure. This is a bit of history now. Was obscure in the 1990s and early 2000s, but since around 2015, it has become pervasive in discussions of men and gender. So what does it mean? Well, we know what masculinity means. It refers to the roles, behaviors, and attributes seen as appropriate for boys and men, right? The term toxic masculinity points to a particular version of masculinity that is unhealthy for the men and boys who conform to it and harmful for those around them. The phrase emphasizes the worst aspects of stereotypically masculine attributes, like Uzom said. Toxic masculinity is represented by qualities such as violence, dominance, emotional illiteracy, sexual entitlement, and hostility to femininity. This version of masculinity is seen as toxic for two reasons, right? First one is bad for women. It shapes sexist and patriarchal behaviors, including abusive or violent treatment of women. Toxic masculinity thus contributes to gender inequalities that disadvantage women and privilege men. You guys agree with that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that?
I want to ask a quick question. So, if they say something is bad for women, right? Like, can you give examples of? Okay, they are saying men that lack emotion, men that exhibit violence, men that are harmful. They are bad for women, right? That's basically what's bad for women.
Well, they're saying it shapes sexist and
My question for that is, those traits that they mentioned are also bad for men. If I meet a violent woman, if I meet a harmful woman, if I meet a woman that lacks emotion, she's still harmful for me as a man. So is that really being toxically masculine? Or
suppose like
no. I guess what you read, I'm just challenging it. I'm challenging what you said, right? Because people like to attach qualities and traits like these to a specific gender, right? Violence. Both genders are capable of violence. Whatever is harmful to me will be harmful to a woman too.
Just to touch on that point, right? I think violence is more harmful towards women because men tend to be stronger in that regard.
Harmful is
harmful. But in terms of like violence, in terms of physically without weapons, men are stronger than women. So when
we know that generally man is stronger than a woman.
You say
if a woman brings out a knife now and stabs you, you will still get injured. You are still harmed by the woman. Although you might take the knife and do whatever with.
I'm talking about violence. I think what they're saying is violence in terms of like physical attributes without anything, just man and woman, typical man and woman.
No, that's not what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
They didn't. You're specifying it. You are specifying it. What we read now, they mentioned violence, And violence comes in different forms. There are men that will also use knives or guns or obstacles to hit somebody or something, right? Violence is violence, right? And lack of emotion is lack of emotion, right? Whether male or female, you have to have, there are certain traits you have to become a man. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but being a man, right? Being a man, because we didn't, I don't think we talked about what does it mean to be a man. We talked about the qualities. We talked about how society views it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, if you're a man, you are emotionally intelligent, right? Meaning you understand feminine, and you understand the feminine side, you understand the
Yeah,
masculine. I talked about this
masculine side.
before, right?
Yeah.
So, and anybody that lacks a portion of either side is not a man. And when I say man, I'm talking about the Bible, because in the Bible when they say man, they're talking about both male and female, of course. Like, I'm just going off the Bible, right? But masculinity is not the same thing. As that word was never used in the Bible. But when I'm talking about man, right, for you to be an actual proper human being, you have to be aware of both sides of the sex spectrum. You have to understand men and you have to understand women. If not, you will not be able to live ideally or behave responsibly to all those, specific sexes, or not gender sexes, right? So
Yeah.
that's my own take on things, because whatever is harmful to me is most likely harmful to another woman, or to a woman. That's what I'm trying to say. So you guys can attack me.
Exactly what you're saying is basically the second reason. Oh, Ralph, you have something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. I think that when we say this whole topic of toxic masculinity, I think more or less what the definition is trying to attack is how it affects the feminine side, obviously. So I also think that the reason why they deem these certain things to be problems, because as you rightly said, Uzo, everybody has a propensity to violence. Everyone has a propensity to violence. I've heard of incidences of women, stabbing their husbands, or things of that nature. So it's I just guess it's then a problem if the man does it, is what they are saying, more or less. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
eh, that is now that then becomes a problem, because like I said before, and as Susan rightly mentioned, there is if you have men who basically who have, okay, look at it this way. Um, a man is who is very angry. This person has emotional intelligence. A man who is very angry but doesn't act out his anger is more powerful than someone who is very erratic in his emotions. So,
What is
say
erratic?
if
I'm sorry.
so
Like
very
spontaneous.
spontaneous, exactly. So, yeah, so
Imagine I asked what spontaneous. Carry on, carry on.
So,
uh,
yeah, for example, if a man is, if you meet someone now, you step on his foot, yeah, you are more afraid if maybe he gives you a glare or a burning, his eyes are burning, and he just looks at you. You're more compelled to say, "Oh, I'm sorry for stepping on your foot." If you don't step on someone and the person comes carrying fire and brimstone, especially in this Lagos, who you have a shouting match for hours, and then at the end of it, you will not achieve anything, and nobody gets respected. So, in a sense, I will just stick to my definition that um, there should be a difference between masculinity and people who are men that are acting irresponsibly, and using those men that are acting irresponsibly and then slapping it on all men, saying that, okay, this whole act that you guys are doing or being masculine is toxic because of these few men that are really irresponsible. It's not a
Yeah.
smart way to do things.
Something I got from this, right? Because if we go back, it says the phrase emphasizes the worst aspects of stereotypically masculine attributes. Keyword, the worst aspects, right? Again, those worst aspects, they're saying violence. Well, you can look at it from two angles. Like, violence obviously is bad, But then, as you said, Ralph, is how you direct your emotions, how you control your emotions, and how you direct that violence, what you direct that violence into. Like a violent man can be violent, but use the violence in the right way. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can use these worst attributes in the right way. Dominance, emotional illiteracy.
I-
Also, you can kind of like what's the word now? You can better yourself. These traits are obviously very toxic if you look at them like just abstractly, but then when you look at them in a man, like in a masculine man, they can actually be good. So the term toxic masculinity doesn't actually have, if you if you abstract the terms themselves, yes, they're toxic, but in a man who is human and has emotions and can, act accordingly, they might not be as toxic, in my opinion.
Okay, I get what you're saying, and I'll ask this question: what makes, if I mix in my water, if I add in my water rat poison and I mix it and I drink that stuff,
The
right?
fixture.
And I drink that stuff. Let's say my stomach has in it something that purifies that toxic water I've drank and keeps me safe regardless of the level of poison in that water, right? That water I took in, is it toxic or not?
It's still toxic.
It's still toxic. Ralph, is it toxic
Exactly.
or not? It's still toxic, right?
That's a very interesting one.
It's still
That's a
toxic.
very
It's still toxic water.
yeah.
Right. So I'm still going to go back to what I'm saying. So whatever traits you pick out and say, oh, this is good for this man, should be good for this woman. Because we must coexist to form a good society at the end of the day. Right. So violence, right? Violence, of course, without a doubt, violence has its good side and its bad side, as every other thing in this world does, including that thing you're chewing. If you eat too much, it can be toxic for you. So that's just life, right? So I'm just putting this out there because what is toxic to man is toxic to woman, whether you like it or not, right? Violence on its own, and I like
Funny
this.
enough,
I like.
sorry, violence is a feminine noun. Just saying.
Okay, buddy.
Right.
Okay, buddy.
That's
Okay, buddy.
serious.
Um.
Oh, I have to go into nouns, especially in French. Masculine
wait. I'm trying to remember something. You rat. Oh my days. Kind of destroyed my train of thought there. But
The rat.
shut up.
Oh.
Where
You
was
were
I?
talking
Where was
about-
I going, please?
You-
Ralph, I love the way you did something. Your mic was really clear just now. I don't know what you did.
Yeah. No.
Please
I
do that
noticed
more.
Something.
I have to eat
No
it.
problem.
Thank you very much.
Behave yourself.
So
No,
what did I stop?
you're
please?
talking basically about violence and
Yes, I just remembered. I was
Violence.
going on this line. There's this line I got from. This must be. This guy was. I think his name. Is it? You guys know this guy? Peterson. I've forgotten his other name.
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan
yeah,
Peterson.
talk about this.
Jordan
talk-
Yes,
Peterson.
I love that guy. He said something about a good man and a man.
Mm.
He said something about a good man, and yeah, let me just say what I think he said. For you to be good as a person, right? It means you were in a situation where you could have been a bad person but chose to be good. That's what makes you a good man, right? In this situation, violence is necessary for anybody. You need to be able to say, oh, this thing is bad, and if you keep doing this, it will result in this. That is basically violence. If you keep pushing this way, I would hit you. Is violence, right? Everybody should be able to be capable of violence, right? But controlling when and how you exert that violence is now what makes you a man or a responsible, normal human being that responds to ill treatment or whatever it is, right? That is the difference I'm trying to coin out here. So I think what you were trying to say was, in certain situations, violence is good from the angle of being able to control it, right?
Control
Because
it, yeah.
you need it.
Yeah.
You need it without a doubt.
Definitely.
I would rather be in a room with a man capable of violence than a man not capable of violence. Like I'll rather form let's say I want to pick like a partner, right, for a company, a business, a deal. someone that I'll go out with to, sign a deal or something. I'll rather pick somebody that's capable of standing his ground, whether in the argument, whether in the deal, whether in if he requires physical, force or anything. I'll rather pick someone that is capable of violence than someone
Someone
that
that
is
is
not.
unagreeable, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's also
So
a trait in a man as well. Like,
yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. You need to be able to like I said, there are two sides of it, femininity and masculinity. You need to understand both of them and how to warp yourself to find whatever tool is suitable for you in a particular situation. You get me? Because they are both tools you could employ to get out of situations or to handle situations effectively. And if you lack either side, you would trail. You would clearly see that you're lacking in something, and it would affect you. So
yeah.
that's
And the
just my
second reason here, so that's why I said, like, we basically just address that part. Like, they're saying it's bad for women. It shapes sexist and patriarchal behaviors, including abusive or violent treatment of women.
Can we dive
Which
into
again,
sexist?
yeah, like we've
After
literally been
that.
talking about that because the sexism and patriarchal behaviors they're talking about and abusive or violent treatment of women, again, is in itself a masculine trait. Like, is again, it comes from the violence thing, right? Which is part of being masculine. So if it's part of being masculine, and if we've seen that, okay, men should be capable of violence and are capable of violence, but couldn't necessarily exert their violence every time, then obviously in a relationship with a woman, elements of that will be seen. So you have to understand how, in
Like,
terms of it being bad for women, you have to understand how to maneuver, as you said, like how and when it's bad
and
for women,
to be
which
fair,
circumstance it is.
women on the other side of the problem, the trigger. There are so many things. Like, women will act sexist, right? Women will exert violence in their own way to a man and expect no repercussions. Expect the man to just take it as a man, right? Which is a really bad upbringing, if you ask me. Do not go out seeking for violence. Do not go out exerting violence on other people and expect that violence not to come back to you in some way or somehow. First off, that's just madness, right? I'm not trying to say,
Mess
I'm
around and
not
find out.
exactly. I'm not trying to say these men should hit any woman that acts violent to them, because a woman will come and slap you on the hand because you're a man, and it's just a woman that slapped you, of course. But it might hurt, it might not hurt, but why would she just slap you because of the fact you're a man and you can take it? That shouldn't be
Love
that shouldn't
juice.
be exactly. Are you a freaking punching bag? Like, that shouldn't be the
Absolutely not.
case. You get me? So upbringing matters too when it comes to that topic. A lot of people
Mhm.
are sexist. In fact, most people. In fact, everyone. I think
The world
everyone
is sexist.
everyone
Like
is sexist, bro.
the world is sexist,
Everyone
but
is
it's
sexist.
just
But when they want
nowadays
to
they're trying
attack
to hide
the
things.
men that stand up and say, "Oh, I don't like this, and I won't tolerate this. These are my standards." They want to slap them, stamp a name on them. You're freaking toxic. You're a toxic man. You're a toxic. That's just all I see from it, if you ask me. And it is
Yeah.
a bad way of life. Nobody should exert violence if they are not ready to contain the consequences of their action.
If I look at I'm looking at the definition of the word sexism here. Prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination, typically against women on the basis of sex. They're saying it's typically against women, is rarely against men from that definition.
Well, okay, that's a different definition of it. I thought so. That means being sexist means you hate the other gender or something, right? Prejudice
No,
is dislike, right?
prejudice, yeah, prejudice is
Dislike,
like
hate, yeah.
dislike or hate, yeah.
Hmm.
But that's what I'm saying here from definition is typically against women. When you talk about sexism, it's never against, like,
Because the people
for men.
like we said, most men are, what do you call it? Most men are
They're supposed to control their emotions
hegemonic.
and
Yeah, most men are
yeah,
hegemonic, so they don't even,
yeah,
when they are being ill treated, they
yeah.
won't say anything about it.
They
So
don't say
most of the
anything,
men
yeah.
won't say anything, but doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So that's what the documentary, or that's what you read, said, that it's
Chats,
typically
I hope you
women.
guys are taking things
But
down because we're about to
yeah,
ask questions at the end.
that's what it says, that it's typically women. But we all know typically men don't say anything about things like this because they'll be classified as a woman, and they'll just they'll use it against them. So yeah, it is something that happens to both gender, and it's unfortunate that they use it against men. in ways that benefit them, but when it's time for a man to stand up to for himself and maintain his standards, that's been toxic. So it's just
You see what you did there? His standards.
oh, I didn't see that. No pun intended there.
You have to see that now. And now the second reason is toxic masculinity is bad for men and boys themselves. Like we're talking about the reasons for why toxic masculinity is toxic. We talked about for women. I
Did
think
they
it's also
state
bad for men.
Can you tell me why they said that? Yeah, just keep reading.
Yeah, remember I said like we cut short, but I was talking about the version of masculinity is seen as toxic for two reasons. The first reason we already dissected, that it's bad for women because of the sexist and patriarchal behaviors, right? The second reason is because is that it's bad for men and boys themselves. Narrow stereotypical norms constrain men's physical and emotional health and their relations with women, other men, and children. Again, I think from what I'm seeing from this, they're saying it's bad for men. But I don't think it's bad for. I don't think the toxic masculinity traits that are described here.
I think
is
I
bad for
know
men.
what they are doing. What they are trying
Yeah.
to do is
They're trying to
they are trying
shame
to
men or
they are trying
something.
to first off, yeah, there's a shaming part, and they are trying to
Yeah.
classify, because this is what they do when they don't understand something, right? They throw it in the bucket of being toxic, right? So if I say this is what I want and this is what I will settle for and I will take no other thing but this, right? They feel, oh, why should I not leave a room for this? I chose that I want this. This is my life, right? And of course, it has to be legal. It has to be nothing like criminal, of course. Like you chose something and you stand up to that thing you've chosen. That is being a man, whether you're a woman or not. I don't know whether you get me. Like that's being masculine. Sorry, that's being masculine.
Being masculine.
Whether you're a woman or not, or a man, right? And you have to be masculine in some certain aspects in life, right? So, and I've noticed they like, this thing about responsibility. They would want a man to be responsible in some situations
going
and
somewhere,
shame
Yeah.
him
somewhere.
and shame him for being responsible in some other situations, right? So, and the people that I've noticed, the people that like to use these terms are people that don't really like being responsible for their actions, right? Those people
Exactly.
would rather, this is the classic one, and hopefully I don't
The
get cancelled
classic
for this, but if you go to a particular location and the rate of assault there is high, why would you in your right senses wake up and still go there? Why? Like if I know
I read
TJ,
of tests. You have to test.
okay,
That's what's
TJ,
going-
think about
Like
this.
I said, mess around and find out.
Think about this,
Messy
right?
now.
Think about this. Every time I open this pen like this, half of my hair disappears. Right? It's already disappearing though, but every time I open this pen, half of
Your
my
hairline
hair
recedes.
disappears. Right?
I didn't want to send, you know.
Come on now, I said it already. Leave me alone. So anytime you open this pen, half of your hair disappears, right? And you don't want your hair to disappear, right? But you keep doing this. Are you okay?
You're smart now.
Are you
You're
okay?
clearly
Like,
very smart.
are you okay? That's literally what most of these people do. Then when the result of their actions come to bite them in the back, they'll be like, but it shouldn't happen to me. Why should it not happen to you? I'm not saying it's good it happened to you. I'm saying it's good at least learn. It has happened to you, so you learn from it. They don't even learn. They go with the, oh no, it shouldn't happen to me because this is what they'll do. It shouldn't happen to me because the other person should have known that this is bad. So
And
if
what
you
they don't realize is in the word they're using, the key word there is should.
Should.
And that should is not
and that
a
is
realistic
that is
word.
a very irresponsible word. Why
It's not-
would you
you
not
don't use
take
should like
control
that.
of a situation? Why would you rather give somebody control of a situation and take control of that situation? Right? You know that if you leave this pen here closed, nothing will happen to your hair. Right? So why open this pen, or why give this pen to someone to open this pen, knowing that if you open this pen, this will happen to you? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
I think the thing is, sorry to cut to TJ.
No, go ahead,
but
go ahead.
I think the thing is, it all comes down to this adage that goes, prevention is better than cure.
Exactly.
Typically, what most I'm treading on very very serious waters here.
Nah, trend,
But
bro.
people who
Trend,
people
bro.
who usually say these kind of things are people with very high volatile emotional behaviors. So something like, or I should be able to go out whenever I want to go out, notwithstanding whatever might happen to me.
I should dress
Um,
however I
and
Some delusion,
want
no.
and
Delusion.
expect,
ex-
to be, yeah, stuff like
exactly,
that.
not knowing that the shoe doesn't fit
The
every
shoe.
foot.
You need to know
Okay,
your size, though.
you need to cut like if you are going,
Uh,
first of all, if you live in a neighborhood that you are sure that, okay, this place has a high rate of stealing, you're not going to open your door in the middle of the night by saying, okay, yes, what I'm opening my door, and then when they steal from you, you'll be like, the system failed me. You have intuition to know that, okay, let me prevent this from happening. Or if you don't like it, go to a place that allows for that kind of thing.
exactly.
So
Where they steal for
it's
free. You don't need to work for their money. I like that place.
so yeah.
Theft is
So
like
it,
crime. Sorry.
okay,
Alright.
no, it's fine. It's the, like you said, the delusion that all sides should fail, and I think actually, like I said, the people who are basically proposing this whole toxic masculinity thing are people with low, I won't say low emotional balance, but they are more driven by emotion, shall we say. So, because something might have happened to them maybe in the past, we're not discrediting it, but because one thing, they faced one irresponsible man in the past, or one or two irresponsible men in the past, then they now say, okay, all men are, you've heard all men are scum, so all men are
All
toxic.
women are hoes.
This no, I did not say it. So
Toxic femininity.
We have to. There's
Let-
equality
let's
here now. You call the masculine one. I'm calling the feminine. I'm just. This is.
Feminine.
We're
Yeah.
equal here, guys. We're equal here.
we're very equal,
Yeah.
but we also have to remember that the that whole equality
When it comes to
mentality is
rights.
something
When it comes to rights, of course.
when it comes to rights, exactly.
Of course.
So basically, all I'm saying is that I kind of think that they sort of have the right intentions. They're just not going about it well. So if you think about it, yeah, there are a lot of irresponsible men because society is not teaching men how best to behave. There are too many words and too many things going around.
Hegemonic
that-
masculinity.
Exactly. So
The top G.
it's
My guy.
Top Z. Top Z.
So-
Top Z.
Nah. L.
Top Z.
L.
Zircon.
Zircon, man. L.
Zircon.
Zircon. Anyway.
Top Z.
So there are many things going around, and there's no guided, this is how a man should behave. And if someone comes around with that kind of rhetoric, and these people who are very emotionally driven see it and say, okay, this doesn't fit my narrative, they shut it down.
Yeah.
So
Kind of relative. There's a moral like this. Morality is also part of this as well. Like so many things are
Exactly.
intertwined. Like
Even
Yeah.
free speech. Anyway,
free speech.
yeah,
Like there's
that.
so much.
that whole thing. So
So much stuff.
it's a very weird spectrum. And sorry, the point I was getting to is that I think these people are trying to say that, okay, this is bad, but then generalizing it, I've forgotten it's a fallacy. I cannot remember, but just generalizing something because of one instance
Yeah.
of it
Okay.
is the problem that they are having. Saying
Yeah.
that, okay, all masculine traits are bad because two men have shown me how not to be a man. So therefore, all men are terrible
like
and they
this.
conform to it.
And
So
let's not
this-
forget they chose those two men, by the way. So they saw better
Yeah.
men and chose those two men. And
Exactly,
decided to complain
exactly.
that, oh look,
Be
this man
better
I
with who you
chose.
choose.
And they will
And the
not.
toxic
They would
masculinity itself.
still go back and choose those same kind of men when
Men,
they've
exactly.
gotten over those emotions and still look for who to blame and still look
But
for.
when
who's
we're saying
toxic.
they now, who are we referring
Talking
to?
to the
Are we
women
referring
that
to-
make bad
Exactly,
choices,
because
of
we know
course.
that the toxic masculinity itself, I rarely see it. Like I've never seen a man describe that. I think it will come more from the female side because it's more directed towards. It will only be toxic in the male side if it's like extremely like something really really bad. But if it's just part of the toxic like masculine traits, then that is opposed to the feminine traits, then it will come from females.
Yeah.
Another point I have to make. I was just thinking of something.
I'm so sorry. Before we go on, I just wanted to say something from what Ralph said. I was writing this down. I was saying, to that point, right? Both sides should of course face the consequences for their actions, right? Meaning,
Exactly.
if a girl picks a guy that, after all, her, I'm so emotionally intelligent, whatever they say, she makes her decision and she picks the worst guy for herself, and the guy messes her up, right? Of course, she'll bear the consequences of that. But the guy in
Bit
turn,
of messy.
in the guy in turn should receive his own Ronaldo. You get, so the guy in turn is going to have his own. Sorry, I just had to join it.
You had to add that in, like
You know,
that.
the guy would also face his own consequences, as per, these women can tag you as this. These women can go around and try to mess your life up. Those are just consequences of what happens when you go in there and you
Is
just
that toxic femininity though? Is that
well, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely
If I say
toxic.
feminist now, we have a problem.
It's definitely toxic when, instead of fixing a problem from the roots, meaning, oh, I made a bad decision, right? Let me fix that and not go to this man. Rather, I'll go around, look for other men to hurt and bring down just because of this one man that did this to me. So that is just a bad way. Same thing that happens in the other side of it.
And
The
this is
guys,
exactly, yeah.
the guys, instead of healing properly from this bad decision you made, you go around and sleep with 30, 50 women, like some red pillars advice, and expect to one day find a traditional woman that would be submissive to you, so that you can grow your
Games.
like, bro, some trolling, man. Some trolling. And also, Ralph said something about most of the people act based on emotion. They are emotionally driven, and I was going to say that is kind of wrong if you say only the women are emotionally driven, because men are also emotionally driven. But let's say
Exactly.
you get hurt, you go to the gym, you start pumping metal. That's you're driven by the hurt. It's that emotion that drove you to do that. And most of the time, emotions drive people to do stuff. The reason I'm working my ass off to be in a position where I don't need to work for the rest of my life is because of the emotional need to not be unsatisfied with my life, basically. So it's still emotion. Everything still boils down to emotion. Everything that's going on in the whole world still boils down to emotion. But handling it is what we're talking about. So handling it and handling it well. That's why I'd rather,
Yeah.
like I said, it's better you heal properly than you go and look for who else to damage. So
I want us to move on
I
a
need
bit.
to clear my name, please. I did not say
It's all
women.
good. You didn't say that,
no.
yeah. We all know
I
you
did
didn't
not
say
say
that, yeah.
women.
Okay, so I want
He
us
didn't
to
say
move on.
women,
We've been
guys.
on
He
this
didn't say
topic for a
women.
while. I want us
said
to talk
trans-
about. We have
trans men.
two more main things. I want us to talk about, like two more main things. So we've covered toxic masculinity, I think, but let me just finish. Let me just close this off. So the origins of the term, right here. The term first emerged within the mythopoetic New Age men's movement of the 1980s. The movement focused on men's healing, using male-only workshops, wilderness retreats, and rites of passage to rescue what it saw as essentially masculine qualities and archetypes: the king, the warrior, the wild man, and so on, from what it dubbed toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity was virtually non-existent in academic writing, including feminist scholarship up until. Okay, I've already said all this. So I think toxic masculinity as itself, we've kind of covered everything, a majority of
Yeah.
things here. Um,
And I also wanted to say, right, what do you think about this red pill and blue pill stuff that's happening?
yeah, we're going to get into that
Yeah.
now. That's what we're going to get into. So now we're going to go into the red pill and blue pill and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Black pill.
Tradcon.
And then we have one more thing, and then we're gonna close. So
Yeah.
let's go into red pill stuff.
So if you ask me, what is red pill, blue pill? TJ just pulled out for us, I beg.
So the red pill and blue pill, obviously you guys know the origin of the terms, right?
Nope.
I don't have to say it. It's from the Matrix, like.
Oh, the major.
red
Oh,
pill-
yeah.
The red pill and blue pill represents a choice between the willingness to learn a potentially unsettling or life-changing truth by taking the red pill, or remaining in the contented experience of
Delusion.
ordinary reality with the blue pill. The terms originates from the 1999 film The Matrix.
Matrix.
So the
It's
red
it.
pill obviously refers
Neo.
to all these like top G men that have, they feel like they have sexual entitlements. They are more seen as this toxic masculinity kind of men, and the blue pill are more average men kind of thing in their own
Baptist.
in their own field. So let me start this one. My take on the whole red pill, blue pill thing, right? And I have a lot of things to say about this because
Because I always
this is
see
one of my
you.
exactly this way you see me. So what I think is I think men and women are different. First of all, we'll start with that, right? Men and women are different, and so they since they are different genders, they will have different
Sorry, different in what?
responsibilities. They are different genders. First of all,
Okay.
do you agree with that?
Yep.
Right? Men and
100%.
women are different genders, right?
100%.
And they're also different sexes, right?
Different sexes.
Yep.
Exactly. So they will have different responsibilities and they will have different traits and characteristics. And one of the traits I mentioned, in men, physically, mentally, were manly, were powerful. And I also mentioned virile, right, which we'll get into later on, which is
Virile.
linked with the red pill a lot. And I define virile as being strong, and having like a high sex drive, right? We'll get into that now. But my point on what I'm trying to say here is the red pill have certain conceptions about men that men should lead, women should follow, men should have certain sexual privileges that women shouldn't. Um, Men should have certain rights in society that women should not necessarily be privileged to have because of the positions men have in society and their characteristics. So I myself am red pill to a certain degree, right? I'm red pill in the traditional masculine traits that we've discussed, being manly, being powerful, being strong, being toxic in a good way, right? And using your toxicity in the right ways. And so I see the red pill as something, it's under the whole hegemonic masculinity thing we've discussed, right? But it's actually very good for men. Like the message behind red pill is good when it doesn't involve like, hating the other gender, like hating women completely in terms of like, oh, dissing women or anything, but respecting them and saying, okay, understanding their nature and acclimatizing to like their own nature from your own as a man. For instance, you guys have heard of the term hypergamy, right? Like you've heard of hypergamy, Ralph. So it's like, how do you if women are tend to be hypergamistic,
Hypergamous, yeah.
how do you like acclimatize to that, and how
My guy.
hypergamous, sorry, how do you acclimatize to that, and how do you work on yourself as a man, right? So that's why I see the goodness of the red pill, the pros of the red pill, and now the cons of the red pill are where they get extremely toxic in terms of like the virile aspect of it, right? Where there is no morality and there's a bit of delusion, in my opinion, because you can't say, okay, as a man, you're allowed to sleep with as many women as you want, and as a woman, you have to be. Obviously, we know men and women should obviously practice morality, right? But if you remove morality from the sexual aspect of for men, then it doesn't make sense, because if you as a man you're allowed to sleep with as many women, then who are the men sleeping with? Women. Like, so that means the women are going to sleep with
Like you're just
men,
contradicting yourself.
Yeah, it
like,
doesn't make
literally.
sense. So
Literally.
unless men were sleeping with animals, then that's when it's making
The
some sense.
bestialities.
Exactly. So that's my own take on the red pill.
That's what
And
it
then the
means.
blue pill, the blue pill like is just normal. Like, every man can be red pill, because there's it's just like the hierarchy in manhood. Like there are certain men that are up there. Every man can be president, every man can be a footballer, every man can be certain type of make a certain amount of money and all that kind of stuff. So just know your level, and the most important aspect of all these things is just build yourself up as a man and be a man and respect your manhood.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Now question, because I have to also ask.
The questioner.
Okay, from
Before
Ralph.
you get
Okay.
to the question, yeah. I just
You want to
wanted
define
say-
yourself?
No. I basically agree with TJ. Now the thing is though, just like a personal story, the way that the red pillars advertise themselves is very enticing. I'm not even going to lie to you. How I discovered them, I was at a very low point in my life. I won't even lie to you, bro.
On the low.
The
As
Down
someone-
syndrome.
bro.
On the low.
This guy said Down syndrome.
You were low now. You were down.
You're down actually. Hope you recovered. Hope you recovered.
Oh no,
Of
I
course
definitely
not.
From
I
Down
definitely
syndrome.
recovered. Right. No, it was more a relationship matter. And then basically
Oh, women.
when I was listening to their podcasts and
Which
their,
podcast was it?
bro, I was on everything, bro. Fresh
Sounds
and
like someone I know.
fit.
Fresh and fit.
I was
Ah,
on
the
fresh and
fitness
fit. I
I
squad.
have
was
to know
on
that now.
Gaining
I was
with
on
Myron.
everything, bro. Yeah, I swear. And then hello. And then I don't know. There were now some as I was going for that, there were definitely some things that were like not that did not click. The morality parts that you talked about, there are certain things that if you were not rational enough, you will not have you will not have spotted it out. There's some people who were like me, they were down bad, picked up their thing because they were making some sense, and then absorbed everything, and then now spewing exact things. There's some things that you just need to sit back, think about it. Are these guys
Think
joking
about
here,
it.
or like, exactly think about your life? So yeah, there's certain things you need to definitely take with a grain of salt, but there are also some things that they said are really, really true, and you will not hear other people say it outside. You will not hear, especially with if you have a different background, different upbringing. There are certain things that seem normal to me, but aren't really normal to some people. So
Yeah,
it's just the same.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
something
think
sorry, teacher.
something I just want to add real quick was I know I've talked. I just want to say this. I think patriarchal masculinity as well. I'm just looking at this. It's basically the definition of it is it emphasizes the superiority of masculinity over femininity and the authority of men over women. I think that can be seen in the red pill a lot as well. They tend to like prioritize you as a man being selfish in your own interest and going for what you want first, before chasing women. I don't know if you guys have heard the term
And
like,
then if you think
chase.
about sorry,
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, and then if you think about it, they just come at a point. They just say that because women do it, that guys you should also do it.
Should do it, yeah.
Thank you very much. I've noticed that I've made this point before, right? You say, "Oh, man, work hard, go to the gym, be disciplined." Everything that has to do with nothing with the women. They tell you to be disciplined, be focused, have moderation, all that stuff. But once it comes to women interaction, sex, all that stuff, they tell you treat them like this. Women get 50 bodies and stuff like that, and it's just contradicting the whole thing. Like, why would you say, "Oh, look for a traditional woman," right? Then you are not a traditional man, right? Meaning, if you're not a traditional man, meaning you're going around making non-traditional women. Because if you go around and you're smashing all these 50 hoes, they are not being traditional women. You're creating more problem. You're creating more of the problem. You're telling them to create more problems for themselves. And also, when you go around and you do all those activities, right, you become low value yourself. That's one thing they don't point out, right? Doing all
Low
those
value.
activities that you deem low value would also be low value if you do them. Not because you deem them low value and that doesn't give you the privilege to do them and still appear as high value, because you say I should smash 50 chicks, then you now expect a woman that's been keeping herself for the longest while to now come and be traditional to me or not complain or just take my bullshit. Why should she take my bullshit if I'm not acting accordingly to what the contract, because marriage is not really a contract, but it's a contract of some sort, right? If we get into a marriage scene and you're telling me, "Oh, I can go out, I can sleep with other women," why are we married then? Why are we married? What's the point of marriage? And I know people have different definitions of marriage, and we clearly signed a monogamous marriage, right? Because most of the arguments are for the like, if you have to lie to the woman, you're not a man. If you have to tell lies to achieve anything, you are not a man, whether you like it or not. If you cannot say, "Oh, I'm 21," you are not a man. If you have to lie, "Oh, you're 19," and you're
I
lying that you're
disagree.
22. Hold on, just let me land. If you have to lie that, "Oh, I'm 22," when you're 19, just to get this girl that is not out of your league.
Okay,
right?
yeah, I agree with that.
You are not a man. You are not a man.
Yeah, I
Same
agree
thing
with-
goes
I
for the
disagree with
women.
that part.
So lying, dishonest behaviors, lack of moderation, lack of emotional intelligence, everything I'm going to state out here, everything I've stated here, if you lack any of those traits, you are not a man. and you are not you're not a complete human being. You're not a human being that is properly grounded in those, in the aspects of life in general. Which, if you ask me, nobody is perfect, right? But if you are going to sit down and say, "Oh, I'm not going to improve my life because nobody is perfect," then what are you? What kind of life? What kind of impact would you have on the world with such mindset? You have to be seeking to be better every day. So. Yeah, and you say you don't agree with what? So let's get into
Yeah,
it.
I don't agree with the lying part. He said lying as a man or something like that. Like, so
Okay.
we all know that there are some things as a man you have to hide from your partner, just for their own
Difference
sake.
between hiding.
Serious.
There is difference between hiding and lying, TJ.
Wait, well, so hold on. So you hide from them. All that means like you don't tell them certain things, or you might have to
Hiding
tell
doesn't
them
that make you
false
less of a
things.
man? Hiding.
No, it doesn't, because we know that when women can't handle the truth in certain scenarios,
Or women
right?
they've chosen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, women in general, not women they've chosen.
No,
Women in general.
no. I
Well,
think
what do you think of
that
that? I'm
is
not even going to
Bro, that just said women can handle the truth, bro.
just hold on.
like
He
in
said,
general. Like, I know
look,
it's a red pill
this
statement,
is a
but
red,
like in
obviously.
general, guys.
So we are going to get
In
into the
general.
root of that question.
Okay,
that
wait, hold on.
statement.
Let's dissect that.
That's why
When I say that, I
okay,
mean,
say
like, if you say, like, for instance, if you tell your woman, like, as a man, I'm not saying this every man, but like, say you're married to your wife and tell your wife, I want to go and smash another chick right now.
Okay.
What's she going to tell you? No.
And what did you
Right?
expect her to tell you? Yes.
Exactly.
You
So
expect
my
her to say,
point is
wait, you
that,
expect her to tell you yes when you're married? Is that what you're saying?
no, obviously she's not going to tell. Well, I'm not expecting her to tell me yes.
And
Like, she
as
can
a
tell me
man,
whatever she
can you
wants,
say you're a
but she's
responsible
going to say
man?
no.
Can you say you're a responsible man if you're married and you're asking your wife that question? Can you say you're a responsible man? Let's just start with that.
No, you can't say you're
You can't say
responsible.
thank you
Did
very
your
much.
Wi-Fi go off or something?
Thank you very much. It didn't go
No,
off.
you can't say you're responsible man. Like,
Of course. That is
when you say, okay, let me look for another example. For instance,
better look for another example.
in terms of financial things, right?
Okay.
Right. Say I'm never going to use wife. Let's say girlfriend, for instance, right? There are certain things like that, because you're the man, you're the leader, right, in the house, and you want to like handle the finances. Maybe you want to save certain amounts for the light bills or whatever. There are certain things you have to tell your girl, or like that. Look, I don't have money right now, and you actually have money, but you're saving money for something, rather than saying, "Oh, I have this," and then you guys use the money for something else. You get what I'm saying? There are
I
certain
get what
things you
you're
have to
saying,
say
but if
that
you're
are not
honest,
true, which are lies, but they might be white lies. They don't have to be like
TJ, what is
really, really
wrong
bad
with telling
lies.
your wife that, look, right now we don't have the money for this and we will not do this? Doesn't that make you more of a man than saying, maybe we don't have money, like I didn't get paid today, so that you can achieve some other goal? Which one makes you more of a man?
Let me say something, right?
Respond to
let
that.
me say something. The way you're thinking is logical. Like, yes, that one makes
Are
you
men
more of a
not
man,
logical?
but yes, but what my point is that there are certain things that you have to understand female nature to a certain extent, right? And know that, okay, women are dependent on a man based on their I don't know if you've heard of. Do you agree with like women love opportunistically and men love idealistically? Do you agree with that?
No.
So, for instance, if you have a wife, right, and she sees a better man, is all in hypergamy. She sees a better man that can provide for her, and you are struggling financially, or you're in a down part of your life. No matter how much love she has for you, and now she can go to, like, she can want that other man because of what he provides for her and because of his certain situation.
She can. Okay,
right?
now question for you.
So wait,
can
hold on,
she
let me finish.
want? No, it's based on what you're asking. Are you saying, will she have feelings? Oh, I wish my husband had this amount of money now. Or are you saying,
of course, she would,
because it happens to the guy too. If, oh, I wish my wife was younger and looking like this girl.
Yeah, but we're talking about the woman.
But we're
now
talking
first.
about the
We're talking about
activity
the
though. There is
Exactly.
difference between thinking it and acting it. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So
But
are
the
you
point
saying
is
she would think it and act it, or she would just think it? Which one?
Certain women would. That's my point.
Let's collect it here now. So let's use this scenario. If the woman had the opportunity to actually move,
Exactly.
would she do it?
Opportunistically.
Like if she had the opportunity to move without repercussions,
you would.
shouldn't.
Hold
No,
on.
look, I know we are dealing in a world that has, there's consequences for your action. Even if we Uzom, if even if we go back to your point to say, okay, I wish my wife were younger. If you had the opportunity to do it, we see all these rich actors and people saying that, okay, I only would date a certain age, or cheating on their wives to date younger women. But then
The eating.
that
pisses.
exactly the point that TJ is coming from is, if women had the opportunity to leave their man to get, if they see, okay, there's this guy who is richer, he's finer, all of that, he wants me. If they had the opportunity to do it without repercussions, they would do it in a heartbeat.
And the reason they would, is because of like their offspring. Women think about their offspring. They
No,
want the best offspring
no.
they can and the best
Exactly.
provision. So it's
So
just a
that
feminine,
is a
like,
human. No, it's a human
It's
thing.
a human.
It's a
I'm talking
human
about
thing.
it's a human thing. I'm talking
It's a
about
human
like,
thing. So
in
even
terms of
the
the
guy,
woman's
it's not just
out, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. What you're saying is not something that is just it's not a trait that is attributed to just a woman. Anybody would like to leave a bad situation.
I'm talking
to
about
get to a better
offspring
one.
now, Uzom. I'm talking about
You,
offspring.
you can define whatever
That's what I'm
situation. I will
that's
give
what
you a
I'm
situation
addressing to
where
women.
you're just giving me a specific one. I could also give you a specific situation for a guy too, where he would also
Looking for
yeah.
I know. I
So
know.
who won't idealistically want to switch a bad situation for a good one, right? Everybody wants better situations in their lives, right? So if that's what
let's just like, in fact, this whole line thing, right?
mm-hmm.
Why have you also heard like don't cry in front of your
That is another red pill.
like, because
red
you
pill
know that
statement.
women are emotional, and if they see you crying, they might see you as weaker and like not being able to stand for them.
That is
So,
one. That is one
that
thing.
can be lying. You're lying, you're faking your crying. That if you want to cry, like, you get what I'm saying?
But that's
Like,
if that's one take. That's one take, right? How about this take? You're less of a man. You're not manly enough to come with the term that, oh, if I cry, right? What's like, if I cry, it's an emotional reaction to a situation, right? I'm not saying go around crying to your wife, right? But if one day somehow it just happens that I'm in a situation where I'm crying in front of my wife, right? That doesn't make me less of a man. And that doesn't make me
course
act
it doesn't,
less.
but in her
That doesn't.
eyes,
No,
it
hold
can.
on. Before, no, that is one. We're talking about one. But
Okay.
that's one situation. In our eyes, it can, right? So think about it. If you're a man and you call yourself a man, right? And in your head, you're thinking that if your wife sees you crying, right, you are less of a man in her eyes. Doesn't that have to do with the kind of woman you chose? Doesn't that have to do with the kind of hold on, let me land. Doesn't that have to do with the kind of woman you chose? Doesn't that have to do with the kind of insecurities you yourself are facing, because you might have created that scenario up, right? And nobody wants a crybaby, if that's what you're talking about. Nobody wants a crybaby. I don't want my wife to always be crying 24/7. If I see her crying 24/7, I will be mad. Why are you always crying? Can't you be a man? I will literally say, can't you man up and just not cry?
Man up.
Yeah, can't you not be a man? Exactly. This is the same thing. So, guys, I'm not saying cry in front of your women, right? But if the situation ever happens, right, and your woman leaves you, first off, you probably made a bad decision. Second off, if you didn't cry because maybe initially you didn't want to cry because you were feeling she was going to leave you or something like that, what kind of woman did you choose? What kind of woman did you choose? Because men and women come together to make themselves one, right? They are not coming together because they have everything in their lives like they want. People believe, oh, you can't exist alone. You can't exist alone. You need other human beings, right?
Mhm.
So in a man and a woman situation, there is a perfect balance between she's more emotional and more logical. If we come together, that is the balance we need. There is too much of anything is always going to be a problem. Too much of you thinking logically will be a problem. Too much of her thinking emotionally will be a problem. So when you come
Yeah.
it together and make that purple pill, I was going to talk about purple pill. There's red pill, there's blue pill, but the middle ground is the purple pill, right? Why don't
Alright.
people want? There's nothing bad to have some blue pill traits and have some red pill
Of
traits
course.
and
course.
balance it out as a human being. That makes you more of a man than if you're only red pill or you're only blue pill. So
But I think the whole thing in red pill, like in terms of that crying thing,
mhm.
I think the whole idea is stoicism. Like, just be stoic.
Define.
That's the
Google the
whole
meaning of
idea of-
stoicism quickly.
Like, just that, like being able to Okay, I'll Google the meaning.
I just need that meaning. I need that meaning right now.
While
What's
you're
the whole-
googling it, let me just interject. The whole crying in front of your woman thing. Personally, yeah, I believe that don't do it.
Yeah.
Just
Why?
save yourself.
Why?
Don't do it. Now, I believe that there are certain opportunities where, okay, say bro, everything is crashing down on you, financially, emotionally, mentally, and then your woman is your place of rejuvenation. That's what basically woman the traits of a woman of femininity is: comfort, care, all of that. Someone you
Nurturing.
can come to when nurturing, right? Something you can come to when she hits the fan. The problem then is that if you tell men, oh, it's okay to cry, you then turn up with a generation.
I
of
never
people-
said.
Yeah,
Like I said, it's not okay. I said I didn't go up. I said don't go up to her crying. I said that. I
Okay.
remember saying
Exactly.
that. But if
okay, so no,
if
That's
it
the key word.
happens, if
No
or if you find yourself in a situation where damn, this stuff has hit the fan, like I might break down here, right? Why do you have a
I still
frame?
think-
Why
I
do you
still
have a
think no.
frame? No, hold on. That's not even the point. Why is your frame set to the wife I've chosen is going to see me as a lesser is going to see me lesser of a man because of my emotional breakdown.
Okay, let me define stoicism before we continue.
Yeah, quickly.
The endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaints. Synonyms are patience, forbearance, resignation, right? The endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings. So you can go through that stuff. You don't have to display any emotions or anything. You have to be the rock. Why do you think in a burial, say for instance, someone died, your wife is going to cry on you, not you. You won't be crying there. Even if you want to cry, she will hold your shoulder and cry because you're supposed to be the rock. You're supposed to not display any emotions.
Very good.
There.
Very good.
Even if you want to cry, even if it's your
You are
dad,
so
your mom
much
that-
of okay, sorry. You're so much of a
Yeah.
rock, right? Why did you get married to that woman if you're so much of a rock?
because you guys complement each other. Like what?
But you are a
What's your
rock.
point? Yes, you're a rock.
So what compliment does she add to a rock? Get a rock now. Add compliments to a rock. Just pick a random piece of rock. Compliment that rock.
Uzo.
Make no. What I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at now is what I'm trying to get at now.
Nah.
It sounds ridiculous, right? What I'm
It
trying to
sounds
get
ridiculous,
out. Hold
like-
on. What I'm trying to get out of you
Wait.
right now is if you deem yourself a rock, right? And I'm sure when you say a rock, you're meaning like you're a pillar. You're firm.
Yeah,
You don't
you're
need
still a
any
pillar.
other support. So why
You can cry with your boys. You can cry with your friends. You don't have to cry with your woman.
No,
like
no,
that's
no,
my
no.
point.
boy,
If you
girl,
want to cry,
you
like,
don't
you
cry
have
to
your
anybody.
woman.
Why are you stoic? Why are you not
You
stoic
can cry
around the
with people,
boys?
cry
Why are you
with
not
people,
stoic
yeah,
around the
in
boy?
your room.
Why are you not stoic around the boys? Why are you not stoic around the boys?
You're not stoic around the boys because they are not your spouse, and the woman needs you to be a rock for her. She
Now,
needs
what
you
is
to be- she needs you
stoicism?
to be that person.
What is
The
stoicism?
reason why you are.
What is
The reason
stoicism?
why.
What is
No, so you
stoicism?
can. Stoicism is not displaying any emotion.
Exactly.
Right?
So why not be stoic?
Hold on, let me explain. Right? If it's your family, like say it's your family, you have children. Like, have you ever seen your dad cry? Let me start with that. Have you ever seen your dad cry? Like, when last did you see your dad cry?
Burial. But I don't think I saw him. But I saw him.
Exactly,
I saw him. Yeah, I saw him clean it. Yeah, I saw him.
yeah, like that is all you. That's the height of you. Just clean it here.
But you're crying. You're crying.
Yeah, but you're,
Oh,
like,
okay.
you're
You guys
cleaning
are
it.
trying to define how profusely you cry. Is that what you're saying here?
Personally, I think not to go into deep because we don't have more. I want us to go into another
No,
topic
we
that'll
should.
take
We
like 30
should.
minutes.
No.
but
Just hold on.
this all-
Hold
we're all
on.
in agreement,
This is
because this
actually.
will
We are
go
not
30
all.
minutes.
We are not
No,
all
no.
in agreement. We are not all in agreement.
We're in agreement.
You are
Personally,
running.
my-
You
my
brought
I'm
up
not-
TJ.
hold
TJ,
on.
can you let me say something? Can you let me say something? Hold on. You mentioned
beg.
my problem with you right now is that you went and you put up the definition of stoicism, right? Meaning you should. Can you read that one more time?
enduring hardship without displaying feelings.
Enduring
like,
hardship
and-
without displaying
without
feelings.
display of feelings,
Good.
yeah, or complaints.
And did they put in brackets only around men? I mean, only around women.
my point.
My
point is the reason I'm saying that is because around your male friends, for instance, like it's different. It's a different kind of friendship you have with male friends and female friends. Do you agree with that? It's a different kind of friendship,
Okay,
right?
so you're saying that's a different type of. So now it becomes a different type of
It's
stoicism.
non-platonic. If we go back to the platonic thing, it's non-platonic, right? So, like, I know it doesn't have anything to, but it's non-platonic. So there's no, even if you cry or anything, there's no like they see you as, oh, you're going through a hard time, but your woman on the other hand, she understands what you're going through, but because she sees you as the man, as the, like the pillar, there might be an element of, oh, he can like he's displaying emotions, just like he's displaying an emotion in this regard, which is not, it's not like, okay, obviously everyone has emotions, but you not displaying the emotion, she'll feel like safer in like in terms of like, oh, I'm okay, like he can take it from me, like I'm not taking it for him, kind of thing. It doesn't mean that obviously you have that emotion. You should, again, what's another point of manhood, another trait of manhood, being able to control your emotions, right? So if you can understand when and how to control your emotions. So if you are able to control your emotions in circumstances and let it out in other circumstances, then that's just my point. And I understand where you're coming from as well, but let's just wrap it up, man.
Okay,
I understand
now I
your
will
point.
speak.
Me personally, I won't. Like,
Okay, so are
the only
you
person,
finish.
the only woman I might maybe, it won't be my spouse. Like, it will be like if it won't be my spouse or like my partner, because it's just different.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay,
That's
good.
my point.
Now I'll bring up the same thing I asked before. What makes a good man good? A good man is good because he was presented with the situation of being bad and decided to be good. Right. So should
He was
I
a bad boy at first. If you
a
think
very
of it.
bad boy? But anyway, what I was saying is, am I good if when I see who I want to impress, right, I act good, right? But when I see
Yes.
people I don't want to impress, I go back to my being.
Yes.
Am I
Human
good?
beings are actors.
Hold
Human
on.
beings are actors. You know that, right?
Just hold on. Let me.
So what's
I'm
your
asking.
point? What actors?
Let
Like,
me
we act differently
hold
in
on.
different.
Hold on. Can I?
Okay,
Can
okay,
I learn?
okay.
Thank you.
Alright, learn,
So-
learn.
Back to what I'm saying. You define the question. You define stoicism. Am I stoic, or am I practicing stoicism? If in one situation I act stoic to impress someone else, and in another
Mhm.
situation I don't act stoic because I am actually not stoic. So am I stoic?
Yes. Okay, let me answer that question. Yes,
You are
because
stoic. Okay.
yes, you are stoic because, as I said, human beings are actors, right? Obviously, stoicism in itself means you have to be stoic irrespective of the situation. I agree with that, but you are still emotional as a man. It's not like men are just like have no emotion. We're still emotional as a man. The whole thing of stoicism is being able to endure it without displaying.
Read the definition.
I'm literally saying in definition, being able to endure the pain
No matter
without displaying
no
feelings
matter the
and
situation.
complaints. Exactly.
So why should that definition change?
Because
You're
it
giving
is
a because. Did they
relationship.
give this because there, or is this
see,
you?
They don't have to give the thing. We're talking logically now. We're deducing from
Okay.
logic of what we've been saying, right?
Wait.
Being
Yeah,
a
Ralph,
human
I
being-
want you to come in once it's done. Like,
let me just finish. Like, this is my last thing.
just let him, because I'm going to ask both. The question is for
both.
both of you. Okay.
Yeah, this is literally the last thing I'm going to say.
Mhm.
You have to understand the nature of the relationships, first of all, in stoicism, right?
Okay.
Now, the nature of relationship you have with your woman and the nature of relationship you have with your male friends are different.
Stoicism doesn't
The
say
way you
that, but
act, the way you act in both relationships, there might be a bit of nuance in them, right, in your actions. So again, you can't say, okay,
you have to be stoic.
if I'm stoic, I have to be stoic.
You have
Like,
to. That is what the definition is.
you can't say, yeah, that's what the definition is, but you can't just be stoic like that every
Okay.
time.
I like the way this is going.
Because as human beings, we're not, even if there's a rule book of stoicism, that's the abstract definition of stoicism, but human beings have emotions. You have to take that into consideration and say, okay, well,
So
what do you have to say? I'm done.
We can clearly agree. Sorry, before I forget my point, we can clearly agree that you are saying you have to be stoic sometimes and you have to not be stoic sometimes, right? That's what you're saying.
I'm saying you have to be stoic in general, but emotions are a
But
a
okay, so
factor.
that is the sometimes. But so that but already makes that a different situation. So you're saying the same thing. You just don't want to admit it. You're moving the goalposts. That's what they call it. But anyway, now I like the way you say you can't be stoic every time, right? So what makes you think?
Let's see,
in-
please.
What makes you think is part of the shadow? It's shadow boxing.
gen.
Shadow boxing.
Shadow boxing.
So let's say in a situation where you know you're married to this particular person, the person you probably trust the most, because if your spouse is not the person you trust the most, I don't even know why she's or he is your spouse in the first place, right? So in a situation where you trust that person the most, why should you not be able to not be stoic in that situation? Because
of how they think, because of what they will think about you.
now, if your wife is thinking
That's
that,
all.
oh, this is my husband, if your wife has the same mindset as you, that I don't trust my husband because of this, so I would not act this, I'll keep hiding this, right? When she turns around and divorces you and tries to take half of your money, is that good?
No.
She tricked
But
you, right?
I just want to ask
She tricked
something.
you, right?
Yeah, she tricked
She
you, of
tricked
course.
you. So you going into a relationship, a contract that is two-sided, right? You are there not because you can do it alone. You're there because you need support. You're not there because you can do it alone, right? You went into that
Exactly, you need
situation
support.
needing that support, right? You go into the support and you're now trying to dupe the support system. What happens to you? You destroy your support and get duped by the
Yeah.
support. But she doesn't have to dupe it. She doesn't have to dupe you.
It's just the same way, like, you know,
But-
like boxers. I don't know if you've heard of professional boxers. Like, if they get beat in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
their wives say stuff like, "Oh, it was hard for me seeing my husband get beat up there," and stuff like that. Like, I still love my husband, but it was hard for me seeing my husband lose to another, even if it's sports.
Because the guy's getting
not-
slapped, his nose is getting broken, he's bleeding. Like it's
Exactly.
just like Mary now.
Now-
Mary seeing Jesus bleed and
you
go
have to
through all
take
that suffering.
I know that's a physical thing, but take that all the way. Like, let's squeeze a lot of things from that. What does that tell you about how women see men?
It is not, like I'm saying, it's not a woman thing. If I see my wife going through suffering, you're telling me it will not hurt me. I will not squeeze the
No,
juice.
Uzom, you don't understand. No,
I won't squeeze the juice.
Moving the goalpost now. You're moving the goalpost. My point is,
what goalpost? This
No,
is
I'm
exactly
moving
what
the
you said.
goalpost.
So what did I move? This is exactly what
no,
you
you're
said.
moving the goalpost because
Tell me how.
we know it's a sport. We're not talking about women now. We're talking about women looking at their husbands in a sport, right? Like, and they know that one thing men are known for are their physical attributes, right? And their strength. Now, men are battling strength-wise and are fighting in a sport, and your husband is losing this fight, right? It's just a sport, right? They will still come and say, "Oh, like, I can't believe that my husband lost this fight," or this kind of thing. Like, I thought I wanted my husband
She
to
wanted to
be,
win the
like,
fight.
I thought my husband was, this, like, the pillar, he could beat anybody, like that kind of thing. Do you get what I'm saying? He was the best man I could get. Now, if you
can I?
choose,
Can
Okay,
we
go
let
ahead,
Ralph? Ralph needs to talk.
yeah, Rob, go ahead.
There's something I want to say on that your point. So you see, usually I like to go to history because history usually helps out a lot. In certain gladiator fights or in certain, old Roman fights and things of that nature, when the losing man is usually the bane of society. Nobody wants to touch him. Women don't want to go to him. Typically, if okay, let's say traditional Nigerian traditional cultures stipulate that, okay, if you cannot maybe withstand 40 strokes of cane, or if whoever wins this wrestling match will have my daughter's hand in marriage. So in that sense, there has to be that perception of I'm a conqueror, I can do all things. That gives the woman peace of mind. Now, if going back to one of the points that you guys made, even if you look at, say, studies that show most women find it weird to see their man crying in front of them. Like, they can tolerate it for once or twice, but once it becomes maybe 3 times, that becomes
cry
a
baby.
bitter
Like
taste.
I said, you should not be a crybaby.
Exactly, like you said, don't be a crybaby. But
Sorry,
at the
just
same
cut you
time,
short. So if you know that, like, just hold it. So if you know once or twice, then why cry at all? Uzom,
At all.
just think of that.
That's
why
a
why
good
risk
question.
it when you don't
Like,
know
why
what
are
is
you
what
now-
What I'm saying.
now
when
That is
the
what I'm
limit is?
saying. That is what I'm saying.
now-
You can
now,
break down.
before- now-
Okay, Ralph, finish.
Now, let me just conclude. Now, the last part, when TJ was talking about, okay, don't cry about crying in front of your friends. The reason why that is a bit tolerable is, now, if you are having like an issue, say a problem, okay, I have this financial issue. I'm owing somebody so and so amount of money. I would rather actually ask the boys. Remember we said something about men and using their rationality at all times. Or they are more rational in a sense of, okay, say they are being the rock. Now, if you actually think about it, your guys are more. There's a higher chance of your guys telling you, guys, snap out of it. If you are like crying or you're down, guys, snap out of it. Do this, do that. This will be better for you. There's no need for you to cry about it. Now you need to tell your girl, and your girl is basically the emotional kind of person. I understand that there are some intuitive traits in a woman, but it's not her primary aim. And then if you're now changing her, if you're not
Okay, what
changing
is her
her
primary?
psyche, they are more emotional. Let's just put it that way. They're more emotional.
That
So
her
if you're not
primary
changing,
aim?
I won't. Okay, fair. I will backtrack on it. I retract my statement. I won't say it's primary aim.
No. I don't want you
Now,
to retry. I want you to.
no. When you say primary aim, it now becomes a whole topic. Are you saying that women are emotional 100% of the time? I'm not saying that.
Oh no,
I
that's
am
not
just
actually. I get why you.
exactly,
Let's just leave that.
ex-
That's a whole topic.
my
I get why. I'll just leave it there.
exactly,
But we'll
exactly.
revisit that after. Just leave that there. Carry on.
Maybe another day.
In this
It's
in
not
this
by
sense,
running.
it's more.
You're in this, so we're
It
not
makes
done here.
it makes more sense for you to. I mean, I agree with the point of stoicism. I believe, especially for masculinity, it helps.
Sorry, you believe in what TJ said that you can switch it off and switch it on?
I'm not saying you can.
Hold on, Raphael. You heard him. You heard TJ say
never
that.
said
You heard TJ say
I
that.
never said that, bro.
This is what this is.
I
what
never said that. I said
I
human beings are
believe that-
actors. That's what I said.
Exactly. No. Look,
We'll go back to
human
the
beings-
video. I'll send you a clip of this when we're done. So you see
Human-
how well you
human-
move this goalpost. I'll send you a clip.
Human.
Carry on.
Look, humans are imperfect.
Yeah, movement too.
There's certain things. For example, sins are generally frowned upon. You should not sin. Doesn't mean that we don't sin. So, if we're saying that stoicism is not like a
love
movement, it's
this.
more of like something we should attain. So,
And this is where morality comes in. Sorry for cutting you short. I'm
Exactly.
just.
no, that's fine. And,
Yeah.
and if you now see that more as a thing that you're supposed to attain, you are then supposed to then say, okay, yeah, I have flaws. There are some times where I have not been stoic in this particular part of my daily life. How can I change it? That kind of thing. So that's where I am on this thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
very good. My
Last.
this
so-
is not.
last
Hold
point
on.
on this,
hold on.
yeah.
Hold on. Right.
Because I want us to move on to one other topic that'll
Hold
take
on.
like 20 minutes. So
Hold on.
then we're
Right.
done, you know.
TJ said something about if you know there's a possibility of her leaving you, right? Why cry in the first place, right? You asked me that question.
No, I said if there's a possibility of, because Ralph was saying something about, oh no, you said something about don't be a crybaby like
Mhm.
2-3 times. I was saying if you know, if it's 2-3 times, if you don't know how many times she can accept your crying, or she
Exactly.
can
Why
say,
do
oh
it
yeah,
at all?
crybaby. Why do it at all?
Exactly, it's the same
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
if you also give me an example of a fighter in MMA or something that goes into the ring
Yeah.
and fights and knows that it's not every fight he's going to win, right?
Of course,
and
of course.
he's married, meaning his
Of
wife will
course.
see him fight every fight, right?
Of
So
course.
why in the first place should he fight then if he knows there's a possibility of him losing?
Because that's his job.
That's his job.
Yeah.
No.
No, hold on. You see the way he answered that stoic. He answered it directly. When I go around and ask you the same question, right? That's his job, right? Meaning I'm in a marriage, right? Okay, Frank, Ralph, talk quickly.
No. Like in that sense, bro.
Mhm.
Like it's more like the act or the virtue of you, the basic act of you participating in a fight
Mhm.
is it's actually a very good, like, say, masculine trait. The fact that you are able to see, okay, this is a situation, this guy is about to kill me, I am going to try and kill him first. That kind of thing. That actually makes the woman more.
And that's
more
toxic masculinity, the
So
violence
now,
in that.
the problem is, and I'm going to bring up an example of, say, Anthony Joshua. The problem is when you then wallow in it for too long. Say, okay, I lost a titleship belt. I was fighting top of the world, lost a titleship belt. The major mentality should be telling you, okay, bro, I lost this titleship belt. Maybe one or 2 days, just reflect on your own, and then. We need to see that, okay, yeah, I've overcome this now. Let's go and get it back. That's the mentality they want to see.
Exactly.
If you then come back and say, oh, I've lost this titleship belt, that's the end of the world for me. There's nothing else I can do. let me just lie down, sleep, I'm crying all day, things of that nature. Now that's where there's a problem.
Good.
So when
I like. Okay.
when TJ was saying, oh, it was tough for me to see my husband in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the opinion of not coming home with a bloodied nose and a soiled reputation, but coming home with a defeated mindset.
But his
Seeing
nose is
that
still bloody
I
though.
can't get up.
Yeah, no, it's like it's just it's the point that
His nose is
yeah,
still, he's
but,
still coming
but
on
in
with a
general,
bloody nose.
but in reality,
He's still
it's the
coming on
point
with
that
a
my
bloody nose.
husband is a conqueror, and he's
No,
not, he's
you're
not
talking.
to-
No, you're not talking about
You know.
Frank. Ralph, you were talking about the mindset of the man, right? Or,
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
it's more mindset. Whether he
Good.
wins or
Very
whether you have a
good.
bloody
Why does that mindset not apply in the situation where, oh, I know I do not want to 100% cry when my wife is, but I live with this woman literally all my life, right? So what if I'm in the room crying? Let's say I leave the house. Let's say I leave the room and I go somewhere and I'm
possibility,
just
though, but let,
everything we're talking about here are possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if she's for sure going to divorce you after she sees you crying, so that's also a possibility.
okay.
So if you go into the room and you're crying alone or you're just sobbing and she comes in there and she sees tears in your eyes, right, and you're like, what, why is she awake by this time, right? She's seen you, she has seen you. So of course now the red pillars will probably say, no, I was just washing my face, or trying to lie themselves. That is probably what you do, or trying to lie yourself out of the situation, right? As a red pillar, instead of, oh, she has seen it and I know that this does not make me less of a man, so well, that was what it is, and we'll probably talk about the issue now and discuss, okay, what was going on, why I was crying and stuff like that. Other than, oh, I feel she's going to think I'm less of a man, so I'll just tell her, don't worry, I was just cleaning, I just put water in my eyes, I wasn't actually crying, and hope that she believes that. I don't know if you get my point there.
Yeah, but this topic will forever be opinionated, and it's
Because
always
I
going to be.
want to
So,
steal one more thing. The part about the
okay.
fight that you dodged. He tried to dodge it. You
I'm not-
said
look, I
no.
don't-
Hold
Alright,
on,
go
hold
ahead,
on,
go
hold on,
ahead.
hold on. You told me clearly that if I lose that fight and I cry after that loss, I cry because of that loss. So it's okay for me to cry in front of my wife there.
no, but you cry after that loss. There's a certain way you cry that won't.
Okay,
be
now there's a certain way you
noticeable.
cry.
Yeah, like I haven't seen guys that after the loss they cry, but you won't actually know. They won't. Cameraman not even show you. You might hide your
But
face.
you
like,
know he's crying. What?
you don't know. Maybe he's just like contemplating something. You won't know he's crying.
Wow, this is
You won't
crazy.
know.
This is some. If you ask me, like
Anyways,
now I
let's
understand.
just leave it there, man.
I get you,
Yeah.
but hold on. Now I understand why women like say you guys are actually insecure, because most guys are actually insecure when they do that stuff. Because if you're actually sure that, oh, I chose the best woman and she is a high value woman, like I think she is, because she's with a high value man, like you guys say, right? She should not base off my tears coming out from my eyes, which I cannot emotionally control, which I cannot logically stop from coming out, right? Because most of the times, if you
control tears,
hit, I'm telling you, if you hit that peak of, damn, tears are going to come out from my eyes. Those tears
Then
will
you
come
become
out
a
from your eyes.
picky blinder.
Those tears will
On
come out
that
from
note,
those guys. On that note, those tears would eventually come out from your eyes. So if you're going around with the mindset that, oh, if she ever sees me like this, even though I don't want her to see me like this, and that will make me less of a man, then that's your own insecurity, man, and you have to face
It won't
that.
make it less. Yeah.
That's
Okay,
just,
so
that's
now
just
the
being
next
insecure.
point.
I like the way you're running.
Finally,
Sha.
chat.
Run.
Finally, chat.
You better
I'm
run.
running.
That's
Next
I will
point.
finish you on that point.
The next point here, we're going to. This is the last thing. I don't know if you guys have heard of the socio-sexual hierarchy. Have you guys heard of that before? And Jordan
think I've heard it from
Peterson actually talks about this. You can Google it. The social-sexual hierarchy.
brother, you've been listening to a lot of Fresh and Fit, my guy.
It's
What?
probably, yes, it's clear now. We all know.
You've
We
been
all
listening to a
know.
lot of Fresh and Fit, my guy.
Yeah,
And
of
for you
course,
to know, that means you also
It's
listen to
close,
a lot of Fresh and Fit.
And,
So
let's move
you
on.
snitch, you snitch
Moving on.
yourself. You snitch
Moving
yourself.
on.
Yeah, but this is not
Moving
from. I don't even think. Honestly, I did my research on this. Distinctly from Fresh and. I never. This is not from Fresh and Fit. This social. I don't think they mentioned it, but I have been listening to those Fresh and Fit. Fact. But the social sexual hierarchy, right, is basically. Let me just define it here. This is the last time I'm going to touch on. Is a categorization system that separates men into different hierarchical ranks and archetypes. It's used to describe how men interact with one another, how they behave, and what their natural inclinations are likely to be. when I walk into a space occupied by other men, I get mixed results. Some of them glance toward me and then look away, seeming uninterested in my presence. Sometimes men will quickly change directions so as to move out of my way while I'm walking by. And sometimes, albeit rarely, they'll square up toward me as if getting ready for the possibility of a fight or confrontation. Um, so now, basically, this guy just did a research on like men. He came up with like like a hierarchy of men. So they're classified into alpha males. And you guys have heard the term alpha male before.
Alpha and Omega.
Alpha male, sigma male, beta male, delta male, gamma male, and omega male.
I'm from Delta, so I'm technically a Delta male.
Yeah, delta male. You have to know that. So
And I work on my delts.
So like, I just want us to touch on this briefly. I think this should be another, like, it can literally be its own podcast on its own, but we cannot touch on it briefly because it's actually a lot.
Touch on it, like, we have time here.
So basically, I want you guys, what are you guys' takes on this? So the alpha male, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is an alpha male?
Good question. I think we should go.
The alpha male is the man at the top of the social-sexual hierarchy and the archetype that commands the highest level of social and sexual status. He's a strong natural leader. He's the type of man other men admire and the archetype that women most naturally crave and desire. What do you guys think about this hierarchy? Do you guys believe there's alpha male, beta male?
I definitely know that due to different status,
competition,
due to different class income, or income groups, due to so many look factors, there are definitely hierarchies in life where people are placed over people and stuff like that. So there's definitely some social hierarchy in some form, like it exists. But I don't buy into I don't carry myself, oh, I'm an alpha male. I'm just saying, I don't know. But yeah, I know it exists. Like, there are some hierarchies that people that are fine, people that are very fine, people that are extremely beautiful, like stuff like that. Like there are hierarchies and stuff like that.
Yeah, my own take on all. Go ahead. Sorry, Ralph. I already talked.
Yeah, I subscribe to. I actually subscribe to that whole hierarchy thing because I believe that in everything that is ordered, there has to be a hierarchy. Because without it, we don't know who is who. If in my company now I don't know who is who, I'm not doing anything because there's no boss telling me what to do. So if we then bring it into this space, yes, they are. Yeah,
TJ is your fan named Status. So you have status.
Status, so I have status. High status. The biggest fan.
I like that too.
Your fans are of high status.
That's
nice. Exactly. High status.
I like this so.
So you have to know now. Come on, you have to
I have to be a fan too. Holy, I need status. I need status.
So
you're looking at
the problem. The problem then comes in when there are men masquerading as high status male. If you, there's a saying that says if you talk about the fact that you are something, you are really not that thing. If you are saying, if I'm shouting, oh, I am a, if you're saying, if you think about it, if you think about it, that's a very good example. Oh, I'm a man, you're not. I'm a woman, okay. If you think about it, those people saying that they are millionaires, billionaires, they basically are just scraping the thing. So if you project yourself
999k.
0.99.
So if you project yourself as something, it's more or less pride.
Exactly, and pride.
Yeah,
is the devil.
Comes before a fall. So I think we'll kind of wrap it up here. It's been 2 hours, man, and it's been a nice
there's
party.
so much to talk about, but we have to just close
There's
the
so much.
But we'll definitely
talked about
masculinity.
Talked about the qualities of the male sex. Talked about the types of masculinity, toxic masculinity, and we even branched in a bit into like the social sexual hierarchy. And I hope you guys learned a lot, chat. I hope you guys learned that masculinity in itself is a social construct. But being a man,
if you ask me, it is what you actually are.
Universal, basically.
It is what you are. If you're a man,
yeah,
you own up to what you are. And you would improve what you want to improve if you don't like it. That's what it means to be a man. If you don't like something, you sit down and say, oh, I'm going to fix this. And if you look at it and say, oh, this is something I can't fix, like I just look like a monkey, then you accept it. Like, okay, yeah, I can work on other stuff. Like, when I mean look like a monkey, I mean like looks wise, like there are things you can't fix, like your looks, Like you can dress, you can change your dress coding and all that stuff. You can look differently,
Yeah.
right? You can affect
I,
what you can actually affect, but what you can't change, like your facial structure, your skin color, you have to just accept it as a man and work on what you need to work on.
I think like I need to show you a checkmate. Catch you out on 1 sec, like after this game. But I said after this game.
Weak men,
I said after this game. That's crazy.
geek
What I was
men
gonna say something.
exist.
I forgot what I was gonna say, man. Oh yeah, I was gonna say another thing, guys, that I recommend. You guys should have strong male like role models in your life, like whether it be your dad. Like also, I think something we didn't talk about is also like morality as well,
Like what
because
is
it's actually
good?
very important.
Like what is
Yeah,
a good role model?
yeah. A good role model for me would be like, because I'm like a Christian, would be Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is a very good man, like morality wise,
Oh
right?
my god,
And
bro.
why are you saying, "Oh my God"?
Really?
Wait, what do you mean, really? Like,
Like
I'm talking
what?
about morality. I'm talking about morality wise, right? If you're looking at what a man, he displays a lot of characteristics in terms of self-sacrifice, stoicism,
A good role model
teachings.
that is
I'm
not
talking
God.
about no, I'm talking about morality wise
That
now.
is
Hold on,
not
I'm going
God.
to
That is not
no,
God.
hold on, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that. Let me just finish, right? So you have to have a good role model in your lives for different things. Say for instance, morality wise, you can have someone from scripture. Um, say sports wise, I don't know if you're a sports fan, someone sports wise that motivates you in the sports aspect of things. I don't know whatever fan, like
God is
Messi,
omnipresent,
Ronaldo.
so he can also be your sport idol.
Exactly.
So that's
But
why I'm
I'm talking
asking you
about
for someone that is a human
yeah,
being.
that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of like branching into different aspects now because one person can't fit all, right? Like
God
one
can
role
fit
model, you
all,
can
sure.
have
That's why I'm asking you
yes, God can fit
to
all,
pick
right?
an
But you can
actual
have
role
different
model,
role.
bro.
You can have different role models, right? You can have a role model that
You
for
can't choose
sports. You can
God
have a role
because it can
model
never be
for
God. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So choose
yeah.
a human being that you've seen. I'm
No,
not
but
forcing
the
it on you.
Christ-like
But I'm
guy,
just
like
telling.
I don't agree with what you're saying. You can't choose God. You can choose Jesus
You
Christ as your role model because you're aspiring to be that. Obviously, you can never be that, but that's the whole point of a role model. You're aspiring to be
of
that
course
the
everybody
best
wants to be
version
a
of
God.
yourself.
Everybody wants to be God,
Exactly.
of
So I don't
course.
get your points.
My
Like
point
saying like
is
what?
you give me a human example.
I
Jordan,
literally
I
just
think
said
Don't say
I
Jesus.
think
I literally
Jesus
just
is
said as a
God.
human example for football, like you
wait,
can choose Ronaldo or something or
No,
Messi.
wait,
you.
wait,
Okay,
wait.
no, that's not mine. I'm just
Oh, for
probing.
me,
I'm
okay,
just
for
probing. I'm
me,
just probing. But of course, it was for you because you
oh
gave an
yeah, for
example
me,
for
like
yourself.
a role model for me, like will be
I'm just probing here,
I
guys.
think Jordan Peterson is a good role model to
Yeah, I love
follow.
that guy,
Like
man.
after
I
his
love
after
that
his
guy, man.
teachings and what he says and the way he acts and carries himself, um,
The top G.
yeah, he's eloquent,
The
he's
top
studied,
G.
he's well versed, he knows what he's saying. Top G as well for other kind of
For other kind
more
of
red pill guys,
yeah.
So
Of
there are
course, it's
different
not
role models,
everything
but
you
just
will
have a role
accept
model.
from your role
Exactly.
models. Just what you pick and you see, oh, this is actually what I want, and you work with that.
Mhm.
So yeah, you should definitely
Yeah,
have different role
and
models so that it balances out.
and I think the main issue we're trying to well been beaten around here is the presence of having a father figure
Exactly.
in your life. I think the main reason why we are even having this discussion in the first place is because we've nowadays we're filled with societies that have either very weak father figures or no father figures at all. Single parent households, you know, father figure issues, and there's basically nobody to turn to. Like if back in the days, I don't know about you, but if it was me back in the days, if someone asked me, "Oh, who's your role model? Who do you aspire to be like?" Oh, I want to be like my dad.
No man.
Why would you want to be like your dad? You would think that back in the day, your dad was like the superhero. You could fix everything, all of that, and slowly we're losing that in the fabric of society, and that's creating weaker men. If you don't have
That's
a
why
father
the
figure.
nuclear unit is important.
Exactly. If you don't have a father figure growing up, you don't know how you're going to have a father figure when you have a child, and then that just continues the cycle. So we really need to break that cycle, have stronger men. For like you guys said, Jordan B. Peterson is a fantastic speaker. And when I discovered him, it was just very life changing.
Very, very good.
And yeah, and also like you said, some of these red pillars. Just if you are piece of advice to the chat. If you guys are going down that route, yeah, be selective of what you choose. There are
Of course, you should
certain
always
things
be.
that they
You
say.
should always.
Yeah,
You should always.
Selective, man.
there are certain things that they
Reasoning should not
say
be
that
excluded.
are exactly. There's certain things that they say that are true as true as daylight. There's also certain things that they say because remember that they are entertainers, so they have to say the most controversial stuff to remain in people's psyche. So they will say those things, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, telling the youths that okay, this is what I'm saying, but they are saying some things to remain relevant, so that people can talk about them, so that they can make money.
One of those things being, I don't know if you heard about the vasectomy thing, Rollo Tomasi, like stuff like that. It might make a bit of sense to you, but
you
yeah,
know, most of those people actually believe most of what they say.
yeah, that
So
vasectomy
they
thing just ridiculous.
rarely say stuff that they don't stand and back up. But that guy, yeah, he came on the podcast and he was just cutting corners. He couldn't even back up what he said. So that guy got dissected by Sneaker and Destiny. I don't know if you saw that stuff, but
Man, I saw that now. Like
yeah,
that's just, you can't be tying your tubes because you can't control yourself.
like
Like, come,
exactly.
just.
And you
But yeah, it
too,
was some
Avian.
last thoughts. Last thoughts
Oh yeah.
before we wrap up here.
Last thoughts here. Like I said, guys, it starts with your being a man. Starts from what you think about yourself, what you think about life, what you think about others, how you treat other people, right? So what you give is what you get, and you should be ready to get what you give. You should not act and not get ready to receive what you've given out anymore. People say karma, people call it whatever different names. I don't know what it is, but just know that whatever you put out there comes back to you some way, shape, or form. So, and you should be a man to be ready to accept it, because, yeah, you should not be ready to take what you give to others. You should not be not ready to take what you give to others. So that's just basically it for me. And you should love, like love is the greatest commandment, man. Just love. If you love others the way you love yourself, you're a man. You're a man.
So, Chad, thanks for joining in here, man. We're gonna wrap it up there, and
Yes.
hope you guys
Good stuff,
took
man.
notes.
Guys, Ralph, thank you. TJ, thank you
Thank
for
you, Ralph.
making
Thanks,
it cool,
Suzum.
guys.
Thanks for
Chat,
the podcast.
if you guys like me here, just spam in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
want to see
also
more Raphael?
follow
Yeah.
him. Do you have anywhere you want them to follow you on?
Yeah,
Or
do you have
just
anywhere to follow or anything?
Just on IG at
On IG.
Ralphie from now. Yeah.
You heard that? Ralph, can you spell it out for them?
RALPHIE
Mm-hmm.
underscore FUMNAYA.
All right, guys, you heard that.
All right,
go check him
chat.
out, guys. So this will be the
Peace out, guys.
the closing remarks, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Watch this video
And
here,
guys,
of
we're
course.
hopping straight into fourth, so get ready, man.
Watch this video, guys. Catch you in the next one.
Quickly.
Peace.
All right, for now.